good North Carolina team, in particular a North Carolina team that can really pitch. And you look at a comparison of the two clubs, you see why they're both ranked highly, well thought of, and you can tell why this should be a very good – they both are similar in a lot of ways. Florida State's a little bit better defensively, but not much. From a pitching standpoint, North Carolina is the best in the ACC. So you get a matchup that, pitching and defense seems to want to rule the day here. And yet both capable. And, Florida State tonight with the matchup edge. Now, Jake Knapp is a big dude and throws hard. And Jamie Arnold has been a dominant dude. So I'm excited to watch this matchup. Arnold was very good last week, obviously, against Cal. And he's on 1 day short rest. So you wonder, does that have an effect? He struck out, you go back and look at his last 4 starts. He's really been the guy that we wanted him to be, needed him to be, and expected him to be coming into the season. They're going to need it tonight. Let's hope that's the case. I said Knapp's a big guy. He's 270 pounds, Tom. Have you seen him?
No.
Oh, he's a hoss.
Oh, my goodness.
He's a hoss. Arnold's the better pitcher. Don't get me wrong. And thankfully they're not wrestling because Knapp is 6'5", 270 plus. That's a big dude. Should be a fun matchup.
Yeah, and he is on regular rest because they played last Thursday.
That's right. That is right. And I worry about that a little bit. They played against NC State last week, and he pitched 8 innings in that game against NC State, gave up just the 1 run. So he can be really, really good. He can be a dominant pitcher. And then obviously we can go back and, preview throughout the weekend. Tonight, Friday, DeCaro going for North Carolina on Friday. I like our matchup there with Joey Vellini. And then we go from there, and it's, you need another good start out of West Mendez. North Carolina has a TBD announced for Sunday, so we'll see if that's Johnny Holstaff. Not everybody has bona fide 3 starters, and, you can argue that Mendez is a guy that you would expect in the postseason to kind of be a long relief guy. But nonetheless, this should be a compelling matchup. That atmosphere is going to be awesome. This is why you love college baseball. It's why you love Florida State's tradition and being back to what they are, because it's fun to go over to Hauser when the lights are on. It's at night. These days, folks are lubricated as they make their way in, and they can sustain said lubrication once inside Hauser in a way they couldn't in the past.
Industrial lubricants.
Yeah, it's that'll be loud. It'll be testy and fun, and it should be a matchup of 2 of the upper echelon programs in all of college baseball going at it with a lot on the line. If Florida State can take 2 of 3 this weekend, well, I guess it's starting on a Thursday night, not quite the weekend, like the old college weekend. College weekend began on Thursdays.
Oh, man, Thursday was a good day.
Thursday was always a good day. Made for tough Fridays, but Thursday was always a good day. And if Florida State, getting back to my point, wins 2 of 3, they're going to be a top 8 national seed.
Man, you brought me back.
To Thursdays?
Wow. Thursdays, because what would happen is...
I know what would happen. Let's hear it from the younger version of us here. Let's hear it.
Because of how crazy and fun Thursdays would be. I'll skip the blood and guts of it. Friday ended up being activity day. Friday afternoon, because you would sleep the hell in. You'd sleep in till 11:45, 12:30, 1, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You'd grab your breakfast, which is essentially lunch, probably leftovers from the night before. Perhaps if you ordered late or early, depending upon your definition of late.
You might have the Gumby's pizza hanging around.
Sure. Or an extra half a sub. Like, oh, thank God I didn't eat that whole thing.
Yeah.
Man, I was really smart. Way to go, me.
Good for you, because gluttonous was the chosen route on a late Thursday night. I didn't not eat it. I always finished whatever it was we brought home.
Oh.
Sometimes blindly eating well past already having been stuffed, but, You're not thinking clearly.
Well, the best of nights were the nights you close down the bar and then you open up Brugger's at 6 or 5:30.
Well,
actually.
that's a tough Friday, Tom. That is a very tough Friday.
But what we would do on those Fridays after the Thursday nights out, that was the activity day. You'd be playing wiffle ball or kickball or whatever it was outside. You'd start your day around 2. I mean, those were awesome days. You'd sweat it out too. By the time you get into the third, fourth inning of a good wiffle ball game, you're like, all right, I feel better. I'll be ready to go tonight.
Yeah. There's so many things we can't talk about what would happen on Thursdays and Fridays in those days, Tom. But I do remember many a day after a tough night and then making my way over to Hauser the next day for the Friday night game and needing some hair of the dog a few hours beforehand. So you'd get out of your last class. In my case, I'd call my buddy, and there may or may not be tall boys in the parking lot so we could get right going into the stadium for that big game, for that big matchup. And you got to remember back then, Tom, there were no beers to be had inside the stadium.
Oh, yeah. You really had to think ahead.
So you had to plan ahead. You had to flask ahead. You had to strategically plant ahead. You had to do lots of things.
Well, remember the song. If I started up that next day, first thing, I didn't even grab the sub that I left over.
Right.
Back in the saddle again. And roommates would go,
no.
Yeah, man.
No.
We're not messing around, brother.
That's football season.
That is football season.
That's football
That's
season.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
That is 100%. And Sunday morning for the NFL. Because you had to get, for the NFL Sunday, you could sleep in that extra hour and a half. Because you're not tailgating. You're just having to arrive at the bar by 12 or 12:15 to get the good seat. That's all.
Yeah, our era is different because, even so way back in the early 90s, buddy, there was no, the bar didn't have, later it did, but you didn't have what you had, which was the ability to go and see every game at the bar.
Oh, well,
Sunday ticket came around later. It became a different deal. DirecTV came out. Then it became a to-do.
Well, I would have stayed home because the Bucks were on most of the time.
Yeah.
Usually what would happen is around...
I should say not every bar had it, yeah.
Because this was in a terrible window of losing for the Bucks as well. But you would get every Bucks game till about November, and then Fox 49 would make the decision, all right, we're just going to put on the best Saints or Falcons game. We're done with the Bucks. But you would at least get a good 8-9 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
But my roommates were, many of my roommates and friends were Dolphins fans, and you don't get that here because Jacksonville takes the CBS slate. So we had to go. Now, if they were Jags fans, I wouldn't have left, but we had to go for that.
Oh, I was just thinking back while we're going down memory lane. You just harken back to last season where Florida State told North Carolina, you need to take it on down the road. You are no longer welcome here in Omaha. You need to leave. And we won that game 9-5, and Mr. Holtz threw 4 1/3. And we've been talking about Connor lately. Is he going to be the shot in the arm? Is he going to be the good version of who he can be? Like the one that pitched against North Carolina last year? For 4 1/3, scoreless innings in relief? That was shoving out in Omaha. And if I take you back to that time, you can remember watching and going, man, he is dealing. We are in good shape. That thing was breaking off. And Max Williams, if I recall, homered in that game. And Florida State won that game 9-5. And look, that was the end of North Carolina's season. I'm sure they're going to be excited to play the game. I'm sure they remember. Hey, the team that knocks you out of Omaha, you tend to remember.
Yes, that is true. And once again, they are on extra rest because their third game with NC State last weekend was outright canceled for North Carolina. So not only did they start on Thursday and they get the full week when we get short rest coming back from Cali, yikes, they also had their Sunday game or their Saturday game. Game 3 was canceled. So while they did have a midweek, their pitching staff should be in an excellent place. Their mind should be in a pretty fresh place. But we get Hauser. I would take that trade every time.
Yeah.
One fewer day of rest or the home ballpark. Give me the home ballpark all day, every day.
Did you see the news about Florida State baseball for next season?
I did. Yes.
Pretty cool. That's it's part of a tournament, if you will. It's going to have Auburn and Michigan and Nebraska and Louisville, and I think it was Kansas State that I read today. And That's Globe Life Field. Did you quickly go, where the hell is Globe Life Field?
Well, the graphic that Florida State baseball put out left nothing to the imagination.
I didn't see the graphic. Yeah. I just read. Okay. So, yeah, it's is that the one that says give a Texas-sized welcome?
Yeah, I believe so. It says Arlington, all that stuff.
Yeah. Kind of cool, right? So the trip to Texas will be in February.
Early season at a conference, robust set of games for Florida State baseball. Breaking news.
Great to see. And you got that's to me, I mean, this is going to be as fun of a roadie as we can take here early in Florida State baseball season as I can remember. It's been a minute.
Oh, Matt Lasserre's doing backflips.
Well, he is. He gets to go home. But I just like that we're challenging ourselves. And you get a neutral site series. And, last year we played Michigan State, Western Michigan, and Illinois and South Carolina. And you're like, I like Greenville as much as the next guy, and it's a cool stadium, but wasn't much of a matchup. This is better. This is definitively better, and I say more of this, please. Lots of this. Play over in Pensacola again. Let's get another one of those. There's a rumor on the street we will.
Oh, for fall ball again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Couple of rumors out there. I'm hearing that there's an opportunity perhaps that awaits.
Good. Well, I would like that to be in season as well.
Oh, of course.
Because the bye week during football season is a little tough. I don't know. It's tough for me to get in the car on a bye week in football season and say, I'm looking forward to go catch some baseball. I'd rather it be March.
Let me double check this notice that I received yesterday from a mutual friend of ours about.
Did they say March instead? Because I'm all for that. How about some March Pensacola action?
They did not.
Okay.
But the word, the whispers for those that don't know.
Whispers
for those that don't know is perhaps a matchup with a SEC team back in Pensacola.
All right, Kentucky, let's do it.
Perhaps Mississippi State with a very good tradition.
All right,
in baseball. So wouldn't that be fun?
Bring your cowbells.
Well, don't do that. No, but let's go have fun and watch that. Yeah, I listen. That's better than nothing. You're right. Regular season a little bit better than these fall ball moments, but I'll take it. I like the spirit of it. They're thinking. Yes. They're thinking. Yes. Yeah, they're thinking the right way.
Yeah. If it was just maybe even December, can we look? The weather's fine here in December. Let's do something cool after exams.
Yeah. So it's all about baseball today. That said, close your ears if you don't, or shut down the radio or whatever it is you're listening to this show on. If you don't want to know what's happening in the PGA Championship, the leaderboard there. It's a sorry-ass leaderboard on day one. I got to tell you, this is not going to shake up America and engender some newfound love for the PGA Championship, buddy.
We've got a John Deere leaderboard over here.
We got a problem. This is not what we do. Now, I love golf, but you're not trying to reach me. You're trying to reach the casual fan, and guess who doesn't reach the casual fan? Fox, Smalley, Hogard, Poston, Echeverria, Yeager, Gerard, whoever the hell that is.
I believe he was a guard for Syracuse.
Not going to get it done. Smalley, Poston, no, sir.
Yeah, this is actually a Punta Cana leaderboard. The John Deere would be a better leaderboard than this.
Gracerman, this Dom.
Justin Lower.
This will not stand, man. It's just day one.
How about some Marco Penji?
What?
Harry Hall?
No. It hurts the soul. Ben Griffin, Stevens, Tom. We can't have this. And it's an elitist snob point of view, but we do this at majors, you and I both. And I think all golf fans do. It's kind of like, hey, who's on the leaderboard? What's it shaping up like? Oh, get that bum out of here. He'll never win it. These guys that have no chance to win it, you're like, listen, Poston's having a nice PGA Tour career. He does not need to be leading the PGA Championship today. He's not, but he's within a couple shots of the lead. We don't need all that. Lauer, Stevens, Griffin, Hall, Hogard. I know Hogard's good. If you want to make a cut, get up out of here.
It sounds like the starting 11 for Tottenham.
Or a law firm. Either way, you're like, oh, no. Did you call Lauer and Hogard? No.
Well, the good thing is that David Puig is only 5 back.
Get that shot in the arm for the ratings with David Puig. So we'll keep you updated. But, it's not good. It's got a Scheffler 1 under, tied for 16th. Obviously, people will be locked in on old Scotty and many other. But this is not the leaderboard we had envisioned.
They need a big Friday. In Charlotte to rebound. Or maybe something like a cool 67 from Bryson in the afternoon window. That's what the TV execs are really desperately pushing.
Well, the execs are. I don't need Bryson to do anything. But, yes, you're right. The execs are. NFL schedule was released. I won't celebrate it the way that the networks do, but I will glance over it and just point out some things that are interesting. And then also we've got a little college football here in a second. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar-Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark-Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Porterman, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porterman, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, 1 second it's air, water, air, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Porterman, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, got to get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. It's MillerSeptic.com.
Is your lunch break feeling a little bland? Escape the ordinary with a visit to Café de Martín. Whether it's a fresh ceviche or a steaming plate of arroz con pollo, our Peruvian flavors turn any lunch hour into a culinary adventure. Fast, flavorful, and always unforgettable. Café de Martín is your new go-to for lunch. Visit the menu online at cafedemartin.com.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, I'll get to that schedule in a second, but I get to do a Coach Cameron translates for the commissioner of the ACC. How about that?
A Jim Phillips translates?
Jim Phillips translation.
This should be special.
Well, it just made me laugh. The Power 4 commissioners met recently to discuss potential playoff models. You can read the story on warchant.com that Ira Schafel wrote from the ACC spring meetings. And Phillips said he didn't want to say anything that would affect the negotiations. Now, I'm going to stop it there by saying you can't. Now, the next part of that is meaning you can't affect the negotiations. You don't really have any power to say anything.
There's a needle. There are things that move it, and you are not one of those things.
Well, also, the rest of the conferences, not named the SEC or the Big Ten, ceded their power to do so. They just handed it over. They were feeling as if they were being held hostage and were worried that those two would take their ball and go home a year earlier than they would have liked. And so they conceded that starting this next up, not this year, but the next, they render all power to those two conferences. So everybody else is kind of screwed. Quote, I remain steadfast about fairness in the system and access, regardless of the model. To quote Jimbo Fisher, good to hear it.
It's good to know.
Mm-hmm. But out of respect for my colleagues that we've been working close with, I want to hold off on commenting about specific models or AQs and the rest of it. We're going to be getting back together again with the other Power 4 commissioners. To do what? You don't have a say. This isn't out of respect for your colleagues. This is you can't say. You have no say. We've been in a nice rhythm where we're talking often and we're working on things. Gibberish. I stand true to what I've said before about the playoffs and my thoughts. Nobody knows what that is. And they don't care. What's unclear, now this is separate from Jim, and this is Ira setting the stage for you, is how much influence the ACC, Big 12, or other college sports leaders can have on the decision. As part of the most recent CFP expansion, which runs through 2031, the SEC and the Big 10 were given authority over the format beginning in 2026. Right. That's not unclear, my man. That's very clear. That's concise. They have no say because they gave it up. When asked by Warchant, good job, boys, good job, Ira, on Wednesday, what measures the ACC could even take to push for more automatic qualifiers, Phillips declined to elaborate. In fairness to Jim Phillips, there's nothing to elaborate on. He has no say, nor does the ACC. Quote, I don't want to get into any more details because you can't. There aren't any. You don't have a say. It's a really good question. One that I wished you hadn't asked is the second part of that. But again, in fairness of where we're at as a group, I'll tell you where you're at, Jim, and it has nothing to do with fairness. You're a wet noodle. You're impotent. You've got nothing to add to the conversation because you can't. We've all kind of committed to trying to work together. You have no choice. What else are you going to do? Quit? I've made some comments in the past, and I continue to stand by those. What are they? Whatever is it that you're talking about? The gated community and that everybody needs to have their trash picked up on time? They told you to go to hell? Scoop up your own garbage. Good luck in that neighborhood is what they said. We're building mansions. Come along if you'd like. Just make sure you pipe down if you do. You got nothing to add to the conversation and no power. None. And by the way, that goes for the rest of you. The Big 12, whatever the hell it is you're out there doing in the pack, whatever that is. The rest of you sorry bitches, the same applies to you. None of you have a say. And a good day to you, sir. That's that translation. I do feel bad for him. Again, in fairness to our partners, you throw around the word partner an awful lot, buddy. I don't think they think that means what you think it means.
Our great friends, Burke Mangus, Jimmy Pitaro. I called Jimmy yesterday. He didn't answer, but I called him.
All right, I'm looking.
Well, Dennis
Miller?
Dennis Miller, CW.
Is he around? Maybe he has a say?
Stand up, Dennis. Take a bow.
Dennis is not here.
I guess Dennis he's at the Live Golf event.
Running late. So Phillips did say the ACC's revenues for the most recent fiscal year will be a substantial, if I could say the word, increase from $706.6 million. Sounded like Magic Johnson there. It's very positive, and it'll come out shortly. This is not me being political, but you're all accustomed to the way the president speaks. This sounds like that. It'll all come out soon. You'll see. It's great. We continue to increase and grow. It's a high watermark for the league. You'll see.
It'll be over by Easter.
It's going to be great. Conference revenue numbers lag 1 year behind and are reported through tax documents. So when those documents are released later this month, that'll be the 2023-2024 fiscal year. So we'll see. But I do believe that part to be true. I'm gonna guess that that's true.
I liked early in the quotations there that he spoke about, I remain steadfast to my goals. Well, no, the translation for that is, I am gunning for an NCAA job.
I'm trying to get the hell up out of here because I don't have a say. This league is done.
I need to be on that NCAA ethics and academics committee for all those Olympic sports in the worst way. Will you hire me now, please?
Get me a life raft, please, anybody. I got to get up out of here. We've got no power, and I'm getting asked questions about that, and I can't answer them in any way that is becoming. I can tell you that. I mean, this is a toughie.
I've got an offer to be an adjunct professor at Notre Dame in economics. That's the best offer I got. We got to do better. I got to have a better life raft.
He'd like the system to be fair regardless of the model is what it really translated as. But we'd like a lot of things, my man, and it ain't going to happen. We just saw that. Fairness went out the window with the snub. And then if you thought that was the, high watermark for screw jobs, all you had to do is listen to what they had to say following it, meaning the powers that be, the big two. That was the beginning. From here, we'll assert our authority to a greater extent. We want more of our teams in and fewer of your teams in, no matter the landscape. And if you don't do it, screw you. We'll take our ball, go home, start up our new thing with our television partners, and you'll be out here blowing in the wind.
The juxtaposition for how that Saturday of the snub was attacked, if you will, by commissioners at the SEC and the ACC is so remarkable that I don't think people will believe it 10 years from now. I don't think they will, because Sankey, of course, got what he got, which was 30 minutes of whatever he wanted to do on College Game Day. And then literally during the ACC championship broadcast, I know you're in the building, but if you watched it from start to finish afterwards, you've got Tess and Palmer in the booth. And Tess says, ACC commissioner Jim Phillips happened by during one of the breaks to talk to us. Like, literally, so he walked in the booth. He walked in the booth to talk during a commercial break, not come on the air, as is his right during the broadcast, to say anything at all. He just poked his head in during commercial break.
And you can see the effect it had on Joe Tess.
Is now a good time, Tess? I've got a narrative to push. You get out of here. Okay.
Yeah, that's a toughie, man. Remember that anywhere there are holes for rainwater to collect mixed with clogged gutters, you have the potential for severe roof damage. We know that wind damage, missing shingles, all that stuff can happen as the storm season ramps up. Call T-Spark to inspect your roof ahead of time. Make sure you're good to go. You don't want to suffer that storm damage. T-Spark knows how to work with the insurance companies. If you do, though, help navigate that process to help put your home back to pre-claim condition. That's a good thing. Check your gutters, guys. I have to do it over the weekend.
Ooh.
I'm not happy.
Top of mind.
Yeah.
You don't have the guards on them? You don't have those?
No, I don't have the guard. I got to get up there and do it. I get the leaf blower and I get after it. It's kind of fun. You're on the roof and you can go nuts and watch it fly everywhere. You get filthy. It's fantastic. You feel like you did something.
You put goggles on?
No. I just top it up.
All right.
I go out there with a T-shirt. I said, let's go. I end up filthy. I see the fruits of my labor. After those leaves were blown to kingdom come all over the yard in the front and back, then I mow, chop them up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm not raking damn thing.
Is it a Raycom T-shirt?
It says ACC. It's a big flag.
The hog.
Rest in peace to the hog.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to the hog. T-Spark Enterprises, license number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204.
Your local.
Hospitalized for several weeks after being shot in the jaw by law enforcement as he responded to the campus shooting. Eichner is expected in court for an arraignment hearing on Wednesday, June 11th. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 92. Winds out of the southwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 68 with fog in spots tonight. Mainly cloudy skies expected. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times with fog in spots early tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 94. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 87.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You excited about the baseball? I know I previewed it and all that and talked a little bit about it, but are you pumped up?
Yes, I'm in that place where I'm a bit numb to it because I'm just ready for it to begin.
Yeah.
Like, come on, let's go. Let's find out what we are. Let's find out where we're going to play. And we know that at this point, Florida State has done enough work to host the regional that first weekend. But we want to see if they can do the work to host a super, because this team needs Hauser to get out to Omaha. And most times, by definition, home field for a middling College World Series contender would mean a lot. But I think this group could really use that from a pitching standpoint to get the crowd behind these guys. 2 strikes, everybody getting loud, and the pressure being placed on the batter. It can't hurt. Last year's team could have gone on the road. They would have gone to Omaha. It wouldn't have mattered. By definition, they were so good that that's not going to happen. They're going to have a top 8 national seed. But this group, it could make a big difference. And it starts tonight. I mean, this is essentially, I believe, a playoff-like situation because the stakes are important enough. If a 10 seed versus a 7 seed makes a tremendous amount of difference. And I hope that they get it done this weekend. But I'm just ready for it to go. Let's see first pitch and let's get it going.
Well, the problem with baseball, any baseball series, no matter how good you are or where you sit, and it's kind of true too if you're feeling a little bit in limbo, it's that baseball's a weird game. So you could be ready and locked in and 2 good teams, and game could not go your way and may not be indicative of anything. So you get nervous because you can't always control what happens in baseball. It's a weird sport, even when you're really, really good. But I do think it's important that you win this game tonight. You have your best pitcher on the hill. This is a very good team you're facing. It seems like the remaining 2 would be a split at that point, but you would have a great opportunity if you win tonight because Vellini's been spectacular, and he's been very, very consistent, and he likes and relishes these moments. A Friday night at Hauser with him on the hill, if he gets off to a good start, look out. He may go deep. And now you're talking about winning the first 2 of a critical 3-game series, and you're playing with house money on a Saturday where, look, after all, North Carolina's throwing to be determined. That sounds an awful lot like Johnny Holstaff on that Saturday. And you just need Mendez to be good for 3 or 4 innings, and who knows? But again, you lose tonight, and you feel the weight of what Friday would be. I mean, Vellini's got to win because let's be honest, not knocking the kid. I'm just talking about consistency. You wouldn't feel great about the Saturday game. You'd be awfully nervous. So that Friday night game would be huge if somehow you were to trip up tonight.
Well, and then again, this is your last true home series. You'll be back in this building again for at least another few games after this is all said and done. But this is when you have your senior night celebrations, your send-offs. This is when the emotions spike. For a lot of those players who know that they're going to be selected high enough in the draft that they're gone. They don't necessarily have to be seniors. So that's where I think, to your point, if you can win the first 2 games, that the emotion takes over. You're trying to end it with an exclamation point about, your career here, your time here, and fans can feed off of that for the graduation ceremony. They usually do pregame the senior day ceremonies. They're going to be back here no matter what, but the way for Florida State, the way they draw it up is not a war of attrition. We're going to win out. It's we need to front load what we do in a 3-game setting, in a regional or super regional setting. You got to make your mark early. So Florida State is operating at a bit of a deficit tonight in terms of rest relative to the opponent and relative to their starting pitcher. But again, you're going to have the adrenaline. I mean, Jamie Arnold knows that even though he's going to pitch again on that mound, this is the last of its kind. This is the last that it's going to be just this way. And he has responded of late. He's been the guy that we thought we were going to have all season. Better late than never. And here you go. Here's your chance again.
Overcome a lot of the pressures and then the upset with the schedule changing and, the rotation getting kind of cattywampus. He's really locked in and pitched very, very well. He had basically 2 weeks of hiccups, and then from there he's been very, very good. That's great to see because he's a good kid who's worked real hard, and he's got good stuff, and you've wanted to see that. I've wanted to see that. I wanted him to take the next step. I thought he needed to in order to try to secure being the number 1 pick. Now, listen, that's a personal goal, I'm sure, for anybody who plays the game. I just knew that if this team was going to get to Omaha, he has to be the stud that he can be.
The other thing here is if you do lose the first game tonight, you do start to take a look at those ACC standings, and you don't feel nervous yet. But if you were to say to drop the first 2, and we're not projecting that, but if you did, now you're looking at a possibility that you're not one of the top 4 seeds in the ACC tournament. That's how tightly packed this thing is at the top of the standings, and that is also a function of not being able to play 3 against Virginia. I think you were going to take at least 2 out of 3, and this thing would have been on ice, at least from the perspective of being in the top 4, because you get that extra day of rest. The top 4 seeds next week don't play until Thursday and Friday, respectively. So it would be nice to be able to lock that up. That's something that while we're looking at the RPI, and the RPI matters most by far because regionals and supers and the College World Series matters the most. Also, the way things lay out for you in the ACC tournament matters when you're trying to operate at the margins of the RPI. So ACC standings tightly packed together. Duke and Georgia Tech play this weekend in an important series that will probably eliminate one of them. But winning tonight would put you in the driver's seat, and I think it actually mathematically does sew up a top 4 seed for you.
Yeah, the winning percentage is what we end up looking at, like you said.
Because of uneven amount of games.
Because of the uneven amount of games is right. Now, you can look at overall winning percentage. You can look at, the ACC winning percentage, which is 667, 640, 630, 615 in that order of the top 4. And you kind of, that's tightly bunched up. One game makes a difference here.
I mean, even Miami has a shout at it now. They probably won't. They're playing Notre Dame this weekend, I do believe. But if you're just looking in the loss column, do it the old school way that you look in the MLB standings, looking in the loss column, they're still at 11. So this is going to be interesting here down the stretch. North Carolina is also playing for one of those top 4 seeds. So RPI, ACC standings. Look, the other thing is, if you get into the top 4, and let's say you drop your one and only game out in the ACC tournament, okay, that's fine because you're only playing one.
You're only playing one.
The damage used to be in that round robin format that you play a couple of games. If you lost both, you could lose standing, but. Yeah, 2 out of 3 should do the job to get Hauser as a top 8 national seed.
Did you see 2 nights ago that Bellarmine beat Louisville 10-9?
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what are we doing here? That hurt your feelings. Kind of makes me mad. They dropped 10 runs on them, gave up 9, but they won 10-9. Yeah, right now it's 16-8 Florida State, 16-9 NC State, 17-10 Georgia Tech, and 16-10 North Carolina. And then it's 16-11 Duke. 14-10 Virginia, 15-12 Clemson, and 14-12 Miami, I think.
Yeah, okay, so if they're at 12, they're out. Yeah. So, but 11s are still in there, technically speaking.
Yeah. Mike Norvell left the opportunity, or the door open anyhow, for the opportunity. Perhaps Jordan Travis will take it. Obviously, this became an immediate topic when Jordan Travis announced his retirement from the National Football League, the leg not responding after surgery and efforts to get back to full strength. And while that is a bitter disappointment, and Mike conceded that, he did kind of wink, wink, nod, nod, leave open the opportunity perhaps for Jordan Travis to come back here and coach. I think a lot of people would like to see that. He was speaking last night at the Jacksonville stop for the Spring Booster Tour, was Mike Norvell, asked specifically if there were plans to bring back Jordan Travis into the fold now that he's no longer with the Jets. He said that the decision to retire was very difficult for Jordan, still sorting out his future plans and what it is he'd like to do next. But if Jordan did have an interest in coming back to Florida State, quote, obviously we love him. He's like family. If that's the path that he wants to go, I'm going to work very hard to probably make sure that becomes our reality. He said that with a smile during the last part, which is, yeah, we're going to make it happen. We'll make it happen if that's what he wants to do. I don't think it would hurt. I don't think it would hurt, certainly, having a player that is that close to having been here under Norvell with tow cars, playing in this offense, playing with, just having a greater feel of what it is to be a player and relating to guys. When you're 25 years, 35, 40 years removed, a little bit more difficult. It's fresh. He knows the pressures of being a Florida State quarterback and knows what it is to be a player in very recent memory. Listen, these staffs are huge these days. Why would you say no to that?
Well, 100%. He loves it here, too. He loves this town. He did when he was lesser than in the eyes of the Florida State fan base. He did when he was a king in the eyes of the Florida State fan base and everything in between. This is home for him, and I think it would be wise. You have another bridge in terms of connecting. Your head coach is not the offensive coordinator anymore. The offensive coordinator is removed, certainly in age, if not in presence, and that's fine. Look, that he's the general. You follow his orders.
Right.
But then his assistants also, outside of Tokars, are all, they're kind of up there. Yeah, you have a bridge like this that can tell you and give you real-time feedback in the NIL era of what a locker room should look like and sound like and feel like. Man, there are so many benefits to this potentially working. I think they are going to make it work. Mike seemed to know the answer before.
He did.
Yeah.
He kind of hinted at it, and I think it would be good too. Jordan makes people feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And, Florida State doesn't have a lot right now that makes people feel good about Florida State football. Jordan makes people feel good about Florida State football because he was a great story, and I don't use that word flippantly. He is one of the better stories that we've had the good opportunity, the great opportunity, and the good fortune, I should say, to cover. I've said many times, I certainly did not expect Jordan Travis to turn into the player that he turned into. And most notably, I didn't think he would turn into the passer that he turned into. He was a guy that you just kind of figured, well, they'll utilize his legs the best they can, but I don't know if he's ever going to have the accuracy, the poise in the pocket, all that stuff to become the guy that he needs to be a consistent leader throwing the football. And he became very, very good at it. He was plus at it. I will never tell you he was an elite passer, but he was a good passer, and he did a good job of running the offense. And so that's a cool story. It also, I think, informs moving forward the way that you view players earlier in their career at that position. This debate has always been out there. Can you appreciably change what you are as a passer if by the time we've seen you as a sophomore, you're not able to throw the ball accurately, your footwork is suspect, it's not the principal part of the game for you? You always wonder, can somebody get that much better at that? Can you teach that? Well, Jordan did it through a lot of hard work, and he did get a lot better throwing the football.
And I think he also establishes the credibility of Mike Norvell to recruits. That's the other key thing here. Now, he can't go hit the trail, but when the kids come on campus, if he's in the building, he can speak to how much investment Mike Norvell made into him when he was doubting himself. That's not nothing.
It's not nothing. Also, are we still following these rules? Come on now. I mean, who's checking? Get in the car, young man. You have my blessing. I don't know of this, but if you happen to make your way down and talk to the next great recruit at quarterback who's in Tampa, so be it. You're friends of a friend. Who knows?
If it's Florida State, they'll find a way. We're like the only school that got penalized in the NIL era for anything. But we did.
Well, I would cheat all the time at this point.
But how is it us?
I don't feel like anybody
paper.
I don't think anybody.
You tell me A&M
crazy.
A&M couldn't get hit. Miami couldn't get hit. We're going to get hit over.
They were buttoned up in the way that they cheated.
So much so that the world knew it's a $20 million roster, and Jimbo's furious about it. All right.
Sliced bread. Yeah, he was upset at sliced bread. Bro Bible and sliced bread.
That's right. He had a weird inflection on it. Bro Bible.
Is Bro Bible a place, a thing? Is it a website that people, some guy in Bro Bible named Sliced Bread?
There is nothing about the name.
So perfect.
There's nothing about the name Bro Bible that would ever see me compelled to check out what Bro Bible is
Well,
about.
as soon as I saw it, I was like, now I got to see it because it's ridiculous. It's a collection of dumbasses. It's called Bro Bible. So you're like, well, this by definition is going to be hilarious. I love it. Sliced bread tells y'all that we're spending $20 million. Can you believe it? Some website called Bro Bible. Which means he looked it up.
Absolutely.
Which means he looked it up and read the boards.
And he looked at the handle. Like he was checking to see
who's this sliced bread?
Sliced bread's last active, checking out his last 50 posts. He's like, is there some sort of common thread I can find?
I bet you I know sliced bread. I bet I know him.
He probably accused a couple of assistants. Isn't that right? Sliced bread.
What? What are you talking about? Oh, sliced bread.
You want some bread?
He's looking at him. He just says it every now and then to see if somebody turns their head. Like they're out at practice. Slash spread. The assistants are just doing their job. They've got their whistle. They're looking. Nobody looks over. But the first one that does is some poor trainer.
That's right.
That's you, Slash Spread. I knew it.
What y'all eating for lunch? I love eating sandwiches. You know, cold cuts. And
people are getting nervous.
The best part is what? What is it, Coach? Sliced bread.
I was going to say the turkey. I don't. What do you mean?
Wrong.
Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's Termite and Pest Control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. Kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Knowles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Present Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Jacksonville Jaguars are signing free agent tight end Quentin Morris. He gets a 1-year deal. He spent the past 4 seasons with the Bills. 2024, 16 games, 3 starts. More than anything else, he is a blocker, but he did make 5 catches for 36 yards and also 1 touchdown. College baseball, it is the final weekend of the regular season for number 2 Florida State. They've got a big-time matchup as they are taking on number 4 North Carolina in a series that begins today for Florida baseball. They're back into the top 25. They're going to wrap up their regular season with a matchup against number 18 Alabama. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
The best day for great deals on everything for summer is one day, as in the Macy's One Day Sale. Find the best prices of the month on summer essentials, from men's tees from Champion and more for $12.99 to $500 off diamond studs, now just $199.99. Even 5-piece luggage sets for your next getaway, now $69.99. Less than a cab to the airport, and you can earn rewards faster during Star Money bonus days. It's a day unlike any other. The Macy's One Day Sale tomorrow. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platform.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Searching for the best place to spend time outdoors this spring and summer? The Golf Club at Summerbrook has all the amenities you and your family need. Purchase a family pool membership this season and enjoy the most luxurious and relaxing resort-style pool in the entire city. With a 6,000 square foot deck, covered pavilion, and poolside drink and food service, you'll feel like you're on vacation. Reserve your pool membership today. Visit the Golf Club at Summerbrook.com or call 850-894-GOLF. That's 894-GOLF.
Craving something different? Discover the bold and surprising flavors of Peru at Café de Martín. From sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas, every dish is made with heart, history, and soul. Crafted by classically trained Chef Martín himself. It's not just food. It's a trip to Peru without the plane ticket. Swing by Café de Martín today and taste the tradition. Café de Martín. Authentic Peruvian. Right around the corner.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Of the clock, Florida State, North Carolina, eagerly anticipated big matchup. Noles, Tar Heels, both vying for conference supremacy. Noles in the driver's seat, but got to take care of business, win this series this weekend, and secure a top 8 national seed in doing so in all likelihood. A lot on the line. It's what we love about college baseball. It's what we love about Florida State baseball. Playing in games like this, playing in games that matter, and playing in games that get your heart rate going a little bit. You walk in and you feel that intensity in the air. It's a good buzz, though. It's a good buzz. And if you're good, you play in games like this. You play in series like this if you're good. And Florida State has been now for a couple of years in a row. You got to give a lot of credit when you think about a series like this to what Link Jarrett and his staff have done and how quickly they did it. Came in, nightmarish situation, nightmarish year. Kind of made you raise an eyebrow. Where are we at? How far do we have to go? Follow it up a season later by a dominant campaign and a run to the Final Four standing out in Omaha. Then you thought, well, they're losing so much power, losing so many runs scored from last year's roster. How are they possibly going to make that up? You liked the pitching staff a lot coming in, anchored by tonight's starter, Jamie Arnold. But we didn't know who Joey Vellini was. We didn't know what this staff was going to look like. We'd seen what Crest was at Jacksonville, which was good and bad. Didn't know what he was going to be, unfortunately. After a great start to his career in Tallahassee, he got hurt, which shrunk the options, and the Tuesday starter became the Sunday starter, and that's Mendez, and he's been okay. Not great, but Vellini emerged as a horse for you. So now you have a two-headed monster atop the rotation, and most importantly, what you found out, in addition to having that, you had a really reliable, consistent offense yet again this year. And for much of it, they kind of went about it a little bit different way, but the power numbers are there now, Tom, and they do a lot that is similar to last year's team, which we really could have never guessed that. And that's how we find ourselves in this position tonight, excited for a big series and a chance to win the ACC's regular season.
Yeah, it's closer to last year's group offensively than you think. They took a bit of a dip this past weekend against Cal, had a couple of rough days at the plate relatively to what they have been doing, and also relative to the competition that they were facing at Cal. But it's in the ballpark of last year in terms of efficiency, productivity, on base plus slugging. The home run numbers, of course, won't be as good, the home run rate, but the production, extra base hits, all of it has been very, very good. And it's really only gotten better. If you took the season in monthly increments, or, call it 3-week increments, and you look at that and you judge what Florida State has done, man, these last couple of increments have been exceptional. And this is a nice test for Florida State against a team, a group that pitches really well. Frankly, if I had to face a team for a 3-game series, like a super regional setting or like this setting, I would rather that Florida State faced one that's really good at pitching versus one that's really good at the plate. Because if they can get to you at the plate with an exceptional offense and they get to one or two of your starters on day 1 or 2, you're set up to fail in game 3, in addition to probably losing one of those first 2 games with a Jamie Arnold or a Vellini. But if it's a team that is led by pitching, I trust this lineup with the versatility that it has
and to work
produce
counts and to be smart at the plate and really make them work. We just got done, you and I, watching our pro teams do a series like that, in which every at-bat was a grind for both teams. I mean, you could just see the exhausted look on all starters for both squads. Like, okay, I'm at 30 pitches in the first, am I? You watch this play out, and if you like baseball and you like smart hitting, professional approaches, Link's done a good job of getting them to be more consistent in that regard.
Well, and you've even seen from Max Williams, who we've talked about a lot for a lot of different reasons, good and bad this year.
Mostly good.
100%. Mostly good. And he's on pace to hit those 20 bombs, just like you were talking about. I have seen a couple of at-bats recently where he'll take pitch 1 and pitch 2, and I'm like, oh my God, we got to pitch 4 or 5 of this AB, because he likes to put the ball in play and he likes to ambush a pitcher.
Well, I want my power guys to ambush any fastball they get. If it's relatively close to the zone, go ahead and jump it.
I hear you, but there are a couple of times where there's a walk in front of him or control issues in front of him, and you're
Obviously
saying, hey, dog,
yes.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Don't bail this guy out. But this is the time when the grind is on, and having a player like Chase Williams is just so incredibly important. When the margin's thin and you're trying to win a series on the margins, like you need to do at this point of the year in college baseball, those extra bases, those times when the pitcher is distracted by you standing on first and knowing that you're a threat to run, and so he hangs one or grooves a pitch because he's so worried about his timing on the mound instead of having a statue over there like a catcher. Like, all those little things make a humongous difference. And Florida State is flashing more of those details, those little moments of versatility that gets me super excited for this weekend and super excited for what's to come the next month.
I don't know how this became a story except for that it's May 15th, right? But you saw where Thomas Castellanos, Florida State starting quarterback, went to Twitter after the announcement of the 3:30 start time. We didn't talk about this because it's not much of a story, but he kind of called out that 3:30 start time. How come we're not prime time? Didn't say those words, but might as well have, inferred as much. And basically was kind of, well, Charles lost. This would have been a great primetime game. 3:30 is fine with me. I'm not upset. We seemingly were in prime time when we didn't deserve to be every week last year. He's on in, killer.
Yeah, we had a lot of those last year.
We're the only ones on. You're going, no. We don't need all that.
You know, if it was just about how does this benefit me most, much like you've talked about, this is the priority of the JCS.
Right.
I love the the post-game shows done by 9 or 10 o'clock.
Oh, selfishly, you're loving this life, buddy.
But I care more about my program than I do myself. This costs us ratings points and money, and I am disappointed for that reason. Now, it doesn't affect me one way or the other that the heat index is going to be 108 because I won't be in that stadium.
It's currently 108 in the studio. We had a situation before we came on the air in which the air conditioning needed to be repaired, and it was just repaired as we entered the building. So we went from 90 in here to like 88 currently. It's a slow process. Just want you to know, if you see me start to profusely sweat, that's what's going on. I'm not nervous, not that nervous about tonight's game. That's where we're at.
Yeah, as it pertains back to week one, I would trade the not being able to watch the primetime window for the university making a couple extra bucks so that we can do better as a football program. But hey, if you're going to lock it in and it's going to be 3:30 and everybody's going to have to sweat, I do think I saw this on the message boards in the TC. Good suggestion. Use the NFL model. Let's make this a whiteout game with the gold helmets, and let's let Alabama wear their crimson. Every degree matters. Every degree matters.
I guess. I've always wondered. I don't know. I understand the science of it, but I don't.
Well, it's August. You know, the Buccaneers use it way too much.
As Hades, regardless.
The Bucs will do it past Thanksgiving, and it drives me nuts. But it is August in Tallahassee. Let's go with the white unis.
Couple it with the story about Ohio State's. There's a lawmaker in Ohio who wants Ohio State to never again play a noon game. He wants them. He's an Ohio representative. His name is Tex Fisher, because of course it is. Presented a bill that would basically end Ohio State's ever participating in a noon kickoff again outside of the rivalry game against Michigan, which is always at noon. So he was like, okay, I'll give you the Michigan game at the end of the year because that's the tradition, but we don't need to be part of this Fox big noon nonsense. No, we don't need to be playing at noon. And it's funny because when I only cared about and only watched or made sure that I was locked in for every second of every down of every game for Florida State, yeah, screw noon games. I wanted all night games back then. But when I needed to see all of what's happening in college football, and admittedly got a little bit older, noon games didn't bother me as much anymore. Now, I admit this is from the vantage point of somebody that does not have to sit in the stands. And I know that then, therefore, my opinion on this is obsolete. If you're a dude with season tickets like my father, and you got to go sit in the stands at noon in early August, or even in late August, and even 3:30, I know. It's tough. But the earlier the games as you get older, the better, because I do want to see the other top 25 teams play. I want to watch those games.
Does he have the advanced concourse? Did he shell out for the good new seats?
He upgraded, but he's not doing the high end, the crazy high end.
It's not an air conditioned concourse.
No, it's not. No, he's in the elements.
All right.
I mean, in a good situation, he's like near the 40-yard line. He's doing fine, but yeah.
Did you get his reaction from the 3:30 kick?
He said, he just kind of shirked and said, basically, it's going to be hot. Unless you're indoors, it's going to be hot. I was like, he's right. It wouldn't be comfortable at night.
That is, yes, that is correct. Just the tailgating would have been more of a Cat 5. I think it'll probably be anyway.
I think that's a cat. I don't declare categories of any kind from the show in May. But if I were going to, I can strongly suggest to you, this is a Cat 5 all the way.
Right.
I mean, come on. Those lots are going to open at 7 a.m. It's Alabama. It's so important. We need to feel better about what we are, and people are going to be nervous drinking. And nervous drinking leads to face down in the muck.
That's where I would say that the 3:30 bails you out a little bit.
Because they don't have all day.
Because you don't have the extra 4 hours to tailgate. Yeah. Because you're out in that heat just drinking in the blazing sun.
I've done it.
Yeah, me too. I've been there.
Done it, Tom.
Yeah.
I've done it without eating.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Not
was it
typically,
wise?
No,
No,
not
it wasn't.
typically a wise decision.
No.
And in your 20s,
After a night out on Friday?
oh,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. And in your 20s, you're more capable, but you're also less capable of reason. So the problem is the brain signals you and says, hey, man,
Take a walk on the wild side.
we drank till 4 a.m. yesterday. It is now 9 a.m. You're on your third beer. You kind of picked up where you left off. This game does not kick off until 3:30. We may want to gather ourselves. Maybe go for a walk, drink a big bottle of water, eat some food, get something on your belly. Do something to mitigate the set of circumstances that, as of right now, have us face down in the bushes in about 2 hours.
Here's the wisdom that presents itself about year 3 into your college career. Pouring the cup of water doesn't mean that you drank the cup of water. I
Yeah.
get that you poured it,
Yeah.
but that's only half the battle. We got to drink that, okay? Because for 2 years, you think pouring it means that you've done the right thing, and you just go right back to drinking your beer. That's not what we do.
No. You guzzle up the water, gang. I'm warning you in advance. It's a Cat 5. We all know it's a Cat 5. And yet, James B., it's hot. You know it's going to be hot. We all do. You complain because you can, and it does make you uncomfortable. But you're going to go. We're all going to go. We're all going to be there. You'll ignore the heat if it's a great game. You'll figure out a way. We all will.
Yeah.
About midway through the second quarter, the only time that heat gets really, really frustrating is when you're down 21-0. Then it's untenable. Then it's like, well, what are we even doing out here? What are we doing? We're tied at 14. You're like, whatever. Shut up, Bob's. It's hot. Got it. You live in Florida. Heading out. Here we go. Everybody just moves on.
For the most part, I would say that this really does show the difference between this specific game in this specific month with this temperature of sitting on the alumni side with chair backs, extra arm room now.
That's helpful.
Versus the sun-drenched visiting side in the old school bleachers, cramped in like it's a subway ride in Tokyo, and you are smelling all the people's smells.
All
around
the
you.
things.
Oh,
All the
man. And you got some you can use people's section C.
Yep. You know, it's pretty funny. I was laughing about this, saw it in the chat a moment ago, and this kind of happened to us, I think, as a fan base last year, which is one tribe says, I can't watch other teams play well when FSU's not playing well, or at least competitive for that matter. You know, I'm with you on that. I can, and I have to, and it's part of my job, and that part of it kicks in, but I do so begrudgingly. It is troublesome. You know, and we had this text a lot, or even conversation in passing a lot, when you would watch a middling team play with great gusto, speed, focus, you knew they weren't good enough. You're like, that's not a great team. They're not going to shake up the college football world. But, man, watching them play makes me envious. They care a lot. They try very hard. They're doing the right things in the way that they trigger. They're sacrificing from one another on defense. They're just not good enough. You kind of have pity on them at that point. You're like, man, look, you're playing hard. You're giving yourself a chance. If the other team doesn't feel like being there, you're going to have a chance to win because you care. And that kind of thing, that was, again, added to the list of reasons last year was so frustrating. And I will say, not to go back down the road of negativity, which is easy to do when we talk about all the things that went wrong last year, of which there were a bevy to point to. I would just say I'm really in the camp that firmly believes Florida State is going to play a much better and different brand of football this year. I do believe that. I think there's some that doubt I believe that. They misconstrue or conflate the sense of foreboding that I have for Mike's tenure here and what remains of his career here, with thinking that it's going to continue down the path it was before. I don't think it's going to continue down the path that it did just last year. I believe that will look like quite the anomaly. We may not be good enough. He may not be able to save his job at the end of the day over the next couple of years. Those are different questions. I do think they're going to play really hard. I think they're going to care. I think this spring was about weeding out that element. And him being a CEO better allows him to see it sooner because he's not so immersed in the playbook. He's not so immersed in the next play, literally on game day. He is watching the big picture. He is seeing the segment groups that are performing and aren't and why. He's able to go talk to individuals after series or a play when they come off the field. He's able to better put his hands on the problem. And so I think between weeding out those that weren't willing to give the effort, despite repeated alarms that were messages sent via the press by Mike last year, or really this spring. This spring, he did it multiple times. And I think I won't say every guy that left this program was forced out, but I think that, and I know that, some of them were based on not answering the call for intensity, focus, effort, sacrifice, all of the things that the team didn't have a year ago. There's no way, with the new coaches on staff and the lessons learned from a year ago and Mike's new position basically within the head coaching ranks, rather being CEO than play caller, that you would allow for that sort of sustained nonsense to continue. I don't think it will. So by definition, that means when you go watch Florida State football this year, you're going to see a better product. Now, again, we can get into the discussion of how many wins does that equal, how talented or not is the team, what does it mean for the overall record? Everybody wants to know that. We all search for that all the time, especially coming off of one that was so devastatingly poor. But I do think the brand of football you're going to watch, to the point that One Tribe was making, will be one that when you turn on other games, you're not going to see the appreciable difference in the way that they play the game. You might see an appreciable difference in talent, depending on who you're looking at, but you're not going to see an appreciable difference in the way or the effort that they play with. I really believe that's true.
I think it's a continuation of the signs of health that we were looking for in the spring, which is he was pretty blunt and honest, assessing what was not good enough in spring practice. And even though we weren't privy to it, you got to see in the scrimmage a continuation of some of the things that he was talking about in his press conferences. And you walked away, and we walked away after a few weeks saying, oh, he's being real with the media.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't have to be when you close us out.
I think it's a smart move to be, though. I think it's really smart. You don't want to lead to wild speculation and resentment and all the things that can creep in that relationship if you're not giving anything.
Right, but it's correct, agreed. It's a sign of health, though, that he is doing that because he's facing the problem head on. He's talking about the problem head on, and then the action steps to address the problem head on are the things that, could be exits. People were asked to leave, and or the aggressive nature with which that they went into the portal and go grab players and recruit over positions that are loaded up, like the secondary, like running back. They did that even this spring, which is a sign of he's listening to his assistants and his coordinators tell him we have to get better here. These are all signs of health. And I'll add another one. He was asked questions repeatedly in Amelia Island about last season, and he is starting to get that indignant look on his face. I'm tired of having to answer this question.
Well, hey,
but this is why I think it's a sign of health. Because in the beginning of the offseason, in all those spring camp questions about physicality and all that stuff, he kind of grinned and he understood why he was asked the question. The fact that he feels over that tells me that he thinks what he has in this program is past the fundamental issues of last year. Yes, it remains to be seen whether that means 7 wins, 8, 9, or worse or better. But you could tell that when he gets that little flare, that fire in his eye, when he's asked another question about last year's failures, that, all right, in his mind, he's flipped the switch and he's seen enough to be a little bit angry about it. And he's ready to show what is coming in August.
Well, good, but he's going to have to find a balance because that is the only question he's going to be asked in the offseason. This is the doldrum. This is the seemingly unending, unyielding stretch of days where people yearn for football and sit around and think, damn it, man. And what comes to mind? The success and or failure of your team from last season. I'm talking about the average college football fan. Frankly, the reporters that have to ask questions to file stories in the dead of summer. And also, the other side of that is, what will they be? So you're going to get one of those two types of questions: what you were a year ago and how this year will be different. They may do it in reverse order. I don't know, but that's what you're going to be asked.
Sure. To me, the thing is, yes, he has to walk a tight line. I'm just glad that he is choosing not to be as diplomatic when answering that question. Because if he continued to be diplomatic while answering that question, that to me reeks of weakness and insecurity about what is this, what kind of footing do we have back in Tallahassee.
It's an interesting one, Tom.
I'd rather see a little fire there, because that I need the guy to understand and be motivated and also want to prove people wrong, rather than give the energy that, well, we're going to play out the string. We can juxtapose it to the early part of spring camp. Some of those pressers, like, man,
he was hurting at the early part of spring camp. I think it was the residue from the season that just ended. I don't think he was fully over. I think he was kind of in shock still that happened.
Well, and he was in shock that he was not seeing consistent effort out of the group in spring camp.
They were still broken, and you hadn't got the element out of the room.
And it felt like he was shook by that. To me, this response, just this body language to some of the questions, signals that he's no longer shook, which that's nice. I'd rather my head coach and my kicker and my quarterback not be shook before we start playing games.
Let me tell you something as we sit here and daydream about the upcoming college football season. I've got good news for you, buddy, that'll help you snap out of whatever it is. 100 days. Technically.
I really thought that was going to be a cornbread read.
Technically. 99 days and 22 hours.
Wow. Oh, double digits.
You know this is always a big day for me. This is always a big day for those of us on the Jeff Cameron Show. You understand when we get to this point where you can say, we are 100 days away from the start of college football. That week 0 matchup, buddy, on August the 23rd. That we are 99 days, 22 hours, 31 minutes, and 10 seconds away.
That's the K-State and Iowa State?
The Food Line Special. There it is in Dublin, buddy. Man.
You want to go?
I do. I do want to go. Well, I'm not going to, but I do want to go. I want to go back to any number of pubs that we have visited many times. Share an ice cold Guinness.
A couple of our mutual friends, their Minnesota Vikings got the Dublin game this year. There is Dublin NFL. And
is that the Steelers in them?
I think so.
I think it's Vikings Steelers. What a cool game that is.
That franchise is in the middle of everything this year. They've got
the Steelers?
No, the Vikings. They've got Monday Night Football the first week. They've got Christmas Day game. They've got Dublin. They also play in London. They're the Jags this year. They played 2 games overseas.
I don't know about. I mean, I wouldn't like being treated like that. The Jags are kind of forced to be that because they're the Jags.
Right. You could send Arizona over there, as we've documented. But that now that they're doing the Dublin thing, hey, it's only a matter of the next decade at some point that the Bucs get to go play in Dublin.
So we laugh at doing W's and L's way in advance. If you wanted to do Bucs W's and L's, Jags W's and L's, we could do W's and L's, Dolphins W's and L's, Falcons W's and L's. It's all out there. It's all out there. There are some highlights. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Porterman, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porterman, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, one second it's air, water, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Porterman, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away. Water license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
That chip turned into a crack? No worries. Better call Seminole. We'll fix your glass faster than you can say road trip.
Road trip.
Mobile service, expert installs, and no headaches. Call 850-539-4527, 850-539-4527, or go to SeminoleAutoglass.com. Your glass, your rules, but seriously, better call Seminole.
Seminole Auto Glass.
This time of year, we enjoy spending time outdoors in this beautiful North Florida climate until the mosquito attack begins.
Paul's Termite Pest Control can help you take your yard back. We have an affordable program to help keep mosquitoes away, and our program even helps with other pests like ticks.
Mosquitoes are a nuisance to you, and by carrying diseases such as heartworms, they can be harmful to your pets.
Learn more about how Paul's can help protect you, your family, and your pets from mosquitoes. For the elimination of termites, pests like mosquitoes,
and a greener lawn too,
call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Do you want to take your yard back by having a green and pest-free lawn?
At Paul's, we understand the unique needs of your North Florida lawn, which is why we developed a program to address those concerns.
Our treatment program includes inspection, treatment, and education on best practices for optimized results while remaining environmentally conscious. An added benefit is that our lawn treatment is flea suppression, so having a greener lawn can help protect your pets too. For a greener lawn and the elimination of fleas too,
call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Science-backed technology tracked and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Did you see in week 2 we were on Monday Night Football right off the bat, buddy?
Yes, we are, sort of. And I mean, it actually is Monday Night Football, but it's one of the split Monday Night Football things.
It is. It's at the Texans.
Both of our Monday Night Football games are split when they do the 2 games in one night thing.
Yeah, you're at the Lions too. That won't be easy, but for the Bucks, it's Falcons at the Texans, Jets, Eagles at the Seahawks, 49ers at the Lions, Monday Night Football at the Saints. Every team in the NFC South ought to be circling that Saints game as a get-right moment. Got to give credit to the league for doing the right thing, recognizing the value and importance of a great franchise like 2-time Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay by giving us a bye week in week 9, which is the envy of the league. Nicely done. Followed by a home game against the Patriots, and you're at the Bills. God, dog. At the Rams on a Sunday Night Football game. Cardinals, Saints. Another automatic win there with the Saints. That's a get-right moment before you take on the Falcons on a Thursday night.
Yeah, how about that? That could really be for the NFC South.
And they make it a Thursday night
and they
game.
go short week on us.
Mm-hmm.
You slackers.
At the Panthers, at the Dolphins. And I got to tell you, I'd love to make the trek down to Miami late in the season when the weather is nice down there. Visit friends and engage in the nostalgia of seeing the Dolphins helmets lined up with the Bucks helmets. And if the Bucks were smart, they'd wear the throwback. They'd wear Bucko Bruce unis. They'd go white on white if they could, buddy, with that orange stripe with the creamsicle. Oh,
And that's the one I'm waiting for them to add.
got to break it back out, and you do it against the Dolphins. How cool would that be? I'm in just for the feel goods of that. They conclude the season against the Panthers.
I've got a creamsicle of the new wave that came out, the most recent wave, which looks spectacular. But my favorite jersey growing up before they made the switch, and it still is, was the away Bucko Bruce color scheme with the Florida red number and the creamsicle outline.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a good one.
Outstanding.
Yeah, liked it too. That is the takeaway for Buccaneers fans. That's your matchup there. I have not. Well, Falcons. Listen, this division, you're looking at really tough go here. Everybody having to play the Bills. Not easy. Interesting that the Falcons do take on the Commanders. I would have thought they would have made the Bucs take on the Commanders, given that that was the playoff matchup last year. They like to do that.
They do.
But instead, it's the Falcons that have to go to the Vikings on Sunday Night Football week 2. They host the Commanders. They have the Bills on a Monday Night Football. They're at the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. At the Patriots in week 9. They've got the Dolphins as well. They play the Colts in Berlin. Panthers, Saints, Jets is the easiest stretch. Week 11, 12, and 13. Good God, man. But as I said, Seahawks at the Bucs on a Thursday night, at the Cardinals, close it out with the Rams. Their last game of the year is against the Saints as a layup.
Yeah, it's a little strange just looking at the South. I don't know if this is the same thing for all divisions, but the Bucs don't play a home divisional game until December.
That's odd.
That is really strange. And if you look at the Bucs' final 5 games for them are against the division, so it's really backloaded. Maybe they're trying to do that to
spruce up the
playoff, tie-ins and all that stuff.
Dolphins fans, here you go, really quick at the Colts. Now you ease into the season, Dolphin fans. Not that you have a lot to be excited about, but you ease into it. You're at the Colts. All right, that's a winnable road game to start the year. You host the Patriots, who is going to be a very improved team, but that's a winnable second game. Then you get your annual ass kicking by the Bills. That is every year. Like clockwork. Go ahead and take that L. That'll be on Thursday night for all of us to see, but it always is. So there you go. That's week 3. Get that loss out of the way.
Al Michaels will be happy to be there.
You'll be 2-1. Then you're hosting the Jets. You get to rebound off that ass kicking that you'll take by the Bills, and you'll be 3-1.
Be careful. Justin Fields might run wild.
Then you're at the Panthers. This is easy, guys. Come on now. Dolphins fans, you got to get off to a better start. You've got Colts, Patriots, Jets, Panthers in 4 of your first 5. Sweet Jesus, that's a gift. Chargers, then you're at Cleveland. You're at the Falcons. You do host the Ravens on a Thursday night football game. That's going to be a loss. Loss number 2 on the season will be to the Bills in week 10, meaning your second loss to the Bills. That'll happen. Then you are in Madrid taking on the Commanders.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Bye week followed by nice stretch. Saints should be a win. Jets should be a win. At the Steelers for Monday Night Football. Good uniform game. Then the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. And like I said, you're hosting the Bucs and you're on the road in the dead of winter against the Patriots last game of the year.
Damn. So they're going 1-3 in their last 4 at best. You really do need that front load. You got to front load those W's.
Got to start fast, man. Colts, Patriots, Jets, Panthers. Come on now. Get you some wins early in the season, boys and girls. Get you some wins. I got to get over to the Jags here in a second. I know. Here you go. Jags fans, I'll rapid fire this thing for you. Here you go, Butts. Here you go, Butts. That said, there is excitement in the air for the Butts, and you open with the Panthers. Come on now. You're at the Bengals. You host the Texans. You're at the 49ers. Big matchup on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs. Seahawks, Rams in London, bye week at the Raiders. Should be a win. At the Texans, Chargers, at the Cardinals, at the Titans, Colts, Jets, Broncos, Colts, and Titans. Actually, nice stretch down. Look at this for the Jags, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Now, I know it's the NFL. And what we project right now may not be the reality of the situation by the time we get to week 12, week 13 of next season. But, Tom, listen to the Jags' final games starting in week 12. At the Cardinals, doable. At the Titans, ought to be a win. Hosting the Colts, ought to be a win. At the Broncos, likely a loss. At the Colts, could be a win. Hosting the Titans, damn, man. That is legitimately, at least on paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your last 7 games are imminently winnable.
Duval.
Oh, stop. I can't do that. Oh, gives me the willies. You need the 5-seater, or as Tom calls it, the Pentagon. The Pentagon. Pinch a penny. Already has the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the entire city. Now they have the Pentagon. It's 5-seater. Think of the craziness that can happen with a 5-seater. Easily financed, make these amazing hot tubs very affordable, I might add. If you have an older hot tub, need to get rid of it, they'll come pick it up, haul it away, give you money towards your next hot tub, maybe even the Pentagon. Pitch Penny Pools and Spas, remove and haul away your old beat-up tub. That's good news for you. That's more savings for you. They do make it easy. Go check them out. Having a hot tub is more affordable than you really realized before. Go by Greer Road. See that warehouse. It is something to behold. Pitch Penny Pools and Spas. If you're ready to relax, they'll show you how.
Your local news now.
An arrest has been made after a 4-year-old girl was found walking along. Real Talk 93.3 local news update brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 92. Winds out of the southwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 68 with fog in spots tonight. Mainly cloudy skies expected. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times with fog in spots early tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 94. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 91 degrees.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofingSales.net.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So, like, different breeds, like different kinds.
There's like families. There's different families. And,
so if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti, right?
Yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And I've never
heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com multimedia network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
All right, let's do something I didn't get to yesterday. I feel bad about that. I love it when people do take the time who listen to the show to ask questions, contribute. We always appreciate that. You don't have to do that, but when you do, we certainly appreciate it. And Hijinks did it the other day, and I failed to get to it. Tom did a good job of reminding me that I failed to get to it, so we're going to do it right here. Afternoon, gentlemen, coming for my first FSU baseball game Thursday night. What are must-dos and sees around the stadium? Go Noles. Listen, I would just say this. You're going to have a lot of fun. It's a great atmosphere. This is a very good fan base. It's into the game. It's smart. It knows the game. It participates. So have some fun with that. If you can find a way to make it over there to the Oaks, which is by the football stadium, where you would park out front of the football stadium. I don't know how else to explain it to him off that left side there, Tom, where he could go. I mean, listen, that's a, I don't want to say it's a private event, but that is a,
no, it's certainly not.
Yeah. People are allowed to just roll on over there and
Absolutely.
hang out with Johnny Mack and the crew. And they love it when new people are coming on board. So if you can find that, Section B Animal Party by the Oaks.
Yeah, just take Pensacola all the way down to the stadium, and then you're going to be forced to make a left.
You have to make a left, and you'll pull into the stadium parking lot.
It's those trees right there as you're making the left. You'll see a setup. You'll see a grill.
You'll see people throwing the ball back and forth and all that good stuff.
That's a great way to relax under the sun, feel a nice spring/summer breeze, and get into the energy ahead of time.
And then if you wanted to go into an actual establishment, you're within walking distance of being near where, you know, all the college town stuff is. And you could do all of that. Madison Social and all the things that are there. You could do that and then walk over to the baseball stadium. It just depends on what time you're going to get there and how early you're going to be arriving.
I would also add, if you are a big time Florida State baseball fan, and this, you know, the history of the program matters to you. They've done a good job.
You got to go to the vault over at Garnet and Gold.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, they're partners with us, and we get along with them swimmingly, and that's great. I didn't say that just to promote them for the sake of doing it. I mean, honestly, if he's a big-time baseball fan and wants gear because he's not in town often, they've got a lot of old-school Florida State gear there.
Well, the easiest way to do that is you take that very same Pensacola stop before you get to the light near the stadium, and it's right there on the left, and you'll see the giant, it's the new store redone inside. It's beautiful. But next to the main store to the right is the vault, where you can walk in and get all types of vintage Florida State stuff. Once you do that, hang out at the Oaks, the concourse is much better at honoring the history of Florida State baseball
than
as
it
a
used to
program.
be. But it's his first time here, so he doesn't know how badly they screwed it up for all those years.
Correct. So you can appreciate the history of the program just by walking the lower level concourse. The second level has some of that as well. You can try to pull on the bat handle of the tradition room. Maybe they'll let you in, maybe they won't. But there's a lot of cool stuff that they've Link Jarrett has done a good job of accentuating. And Meat did that too before his time was done.
He did,
to make sure that the history of the program is honored a little bit better. And that's probably a short 5 or 10 minute experience, but it'll be an enriching one.
It's also important. It was something that drove me nuts. They have so much history. Mike Martin won so many games. I mean, you know, they've got everything that you could have for a program, save for the national title. Understand it. But other than that, they've won everything there is to win, and their players have won awards after all the most prestigious ones. And you can see those guys immortalized, whether that is a photo or a team picture or a record or whatever it might be. It's all there, like Tom's explaining. Get you a nice, tall, cold one and mosey about the stadium and enjoy.
It's a big game, man. It's a big one tonight. You picked an excellent one, Hijinks.
Yeah, good job, Hijinks. Enjoy it. And kind of jealous, I got to be honest with you, that normally I wouldn't admit this. I will not be in attendance at tonight's game. Leon spring football is getting ready to be played on Saturday. My son is back, having recovered from his surgery and rehab to a point where he's going to be able to play in that game. And tonight's the big dinner, and I feel compelled as a parent to be there. So,
Can it be producer Lang translates? Host Cameron? But I feel compelled to be there. All right. I hear you.
Yeah, it's a toughie. It's a toughie, but
I need to get points for being there.
No. I need to be there. It's the right thing to do. But, is my head going to be also on the baseball game? Yeah. So is my phone. I'm also going to leave said dinner relatively early Got to be there when the team's announced and the all that. Yeah, hey, good job.
What's on the menu?
I don't know. It's a potluck thing, so I think we're required to bring something. I'm sure my wife would bring like mac and cheese or
Bringing a Factor. Y'all got a microwave?
No, I don't know what's going to be there, but I will be there. I know that. I will also know, of course, the score of the game as I'm there at dinner.
Yeah.
I will have that set up right here. Just like that.
The translates of "I will be there." I know that. There's a translation.
What are you gonna do, Tommy?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? That's
right.
the way that works. What are you gonna do? It's
I look forward to see the developments in the potluck. That's what you're saying right now. That's your coach speak.
It's a toughie. Some guy named Ryan Gerard leads the PGA Championship, ladies and gentlemen, and that's not what we hoped for, but that number is down to -5. There was a stretch where it was -7, and that would have been disconcerting. Luke Donald, 150 years old as he is, -4. This course must be playing short because Luke hits it about 100 yards. Ryan Fox, this is not a leaderboard littered with greatness. Alex Smalley, Steven Yeager, who I will have an affinity for the remainder of his career for winning me a lot of money a year ago, knocking off Scotty Scheffler. Bless his heart. JJ Spawn, Tom.
Hey, this is the Players Championship, revenge tour.
It's something. It is something out there. But of the big names, doesn't mean that one of these guys won't be deserving. Doesn't mean one of these guys won't be a nice story. But as far as ratings go and eyes to sets, the PGA Championship always has a hard time to begin with. It's the lesser of the majors, and it's not close. Then you throw in that leaderboard and you go, ooh. But Scotty Scheffler finished at 2 under. That is 3 strokes off the lead. You best believe he'll be in it come Sunday. Speaking of other names, John Rahm 1 under. Tony Finau 1 under. Slim pickings out there, gang. Slim pickings, and not a good day whatsoever for Rory McIlroy, who was 3 over on the day, and that's a toughie.
I would hope that the PGA packs it in and goes back to the old lineup. You could keep the players in March if you want to, but put some sort of designated event in May, have it be the match play or something cool and different. I know that they're scheduling an Australian Open now, finally, which is cool. Maybe you could put that in May.
That's actually kind of exciting.
Yeah, if you put the Aussie in May, and I get it, the different hemisphere, so I don't know what the weather is like down there. But the PGA had more juice in August.
It's the dead of winter in May in Australia.
Yeah, but it still could be warm, and it could be like Florida. I don't know. But it's in August. The PGA has a ton of juice because you're not going up against NBA playoffs and hockey playoffs and all the spring sports that are going on. It's just a lost time on the calendar. It was better as the season's final major. Glory's last shot.
You always made fun of it when it was Glory's last shot.
But there's nothing on the calendar in August. You actually look forward to the PGA Championship. You're in a desert of sports.
It's pouring rain and 60 degrees in Australia right now.
It's good enough.
Yeah,
the Open Championship is like 42.
No, it's not terrible. They would have had a rough week this week. The scheduled temperatures and weather conditions in Sydney. I went to Sydney.
Okay.
I could have picked Perth or somewhere else, but I went to
Brisbane.
Sydney. I could have. But here's what you got. 80% chance of rain, 61 degrees, 57 degrees, 60% chance of rain, 55 degrees, 85% chance of rain, 85% chance of rain the day after that at 54 degrees. Tough go, buddy. Tough go. Doesn't mean you can't do it. Just saying.
Well, their neighbors in Brisbane have 75-58 splits.
How about
there
that?
There you go.
How about Brisbane? They're flicking off Sydney.
And they're telling them about it.
They're like, get you something beautiful over here in Brisbane. Brother lived in Australia for 3 years, loved it, and went to, and I would too, and you would too. We would all do it. Australian rules football games. Tailgate heaven.
They tailgate over there?
They get after
it. Or
it.
they just call it Thursday and they go to a bar.
No, they get after it, have a big time, Stands are packed. It's loud. It's a violent sport. A lot of fun. We would do that. That would be fun to do. He did it. Always sending pictures. I'm like, damn it, I'm jealous. That looks like a bunch of fun. They sing songs like they do in European soccer too.
Well, then let's fix it. Australian Open from now on in May, and then you put the player or the PGA back where it used to be. Nobody cares about the playoff and the Tour Championship. That's what they moved it out of there because they wanted the race for the playoffs to be watched.
Right.
Nobody cares.
So really quickly, we've got some odds that were released also on win totals for the league. And then secondly, I haven't had a chance today yet. I think we got sidetracked with other information, but could it be? Do I dare to dream? Do we need to bring on Michael Langston about 5-star linebacker Xavier Griffin?
There will be a video to that and appearing on the channel in an hour's time. Momentum for real.
Momentum for a 5-star linebacker by the name of Xavier Griffin. Do not get my hopes up. Have me out here dreaming of the day that we're going to land a 5-star linebacker, have a legitimate chance to beat out Ohio State, Alabama, and Texas, who are the other teams competing for him. Come on, man. Am I to believe that for real? Final hour forthcoming. Power Hour. Stay with.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Hey, everybody, it's Ed Dean along with Roger Henderson, also with FloridaDaily.com. Just want to remind you, daily 4 to 6 in the afternoons right here in Tallahassee on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Roger, it is literally the 2 fastest hours anywhere in afternoon talk radio.
And if you think the country's going crazy, we'll help you make sense of it all.
Oh, yeah, we'll try to make some sense of it. Again, Monday through Friday in the afternoons, Ed Dean, Roger Henderson on 93.3.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT, Greater Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Final weekend of college baseball's regular season. The Florida Gators are hosting Alabama. Game 1 of their weekend series today. The Gators are the $2.20 favorite in Gainesville. Alabama plus 170. Florida 23-3 in their last 26 against the Crimson Tide. Florida State closing out the regular season this weekend at home at North Carolina. Seminoles, another 45 favorite in game 1 today. North Carolina plus 114 on the money line. Jacksonville Jaguars will open up the season September the 7th at Everbank Stadium, a 3.5-point favorite over the Carolina Panthers, 46.5 the total. $250 bonus, and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
There are low prices, and then there are Kohl's lowest prices of the season. I got myself a comfy tee for just $4.99 and a stylish dress for 50% off. Then I found my husband a pair of shorts for under $17. Plus, I earned Kohl's cash. Yup, it doesn't get better than Kohl's lowest prices of the season. So go check them out before it's too late. Select styles, some exclusions apply. Offers end May 18th. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out?
It's Spruce, the new hardworking, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Did you know indoor air is 5 times more contaminated than outdoor air? E&B Heating and Air Conditioning offers plasma air cleaning solutions for continuous air purification throughout your home, eliminating harmful pollutants. Contact E&B today so you can breathe better tomorrow.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites.
A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
You, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
I have a large family on a tight budget, and we're always looking for ways to save money. Thanks to a free energy audit by the City of Tallahassee Utilities, we found ways to reduce our water and electric usage at home. It was easy to schedule the appointment, and the energy auditor was very knowledgeable. If you want to see savings on your City of Tallahassee Utilities bill, start with a free energy audit. Call 850-891-4968 or visiting talgov.com/YOU to schedule your appointment.
Injured? Call attorneys who care. Basic Brooks. Offices, Tallahassee.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Close enough to get the nervous energy surrounding the big series, Florida State, North Carolina. Dick Hauser Stadium, Mike Martin Field. Looking forward to it big time. A lot at hand here on the line for Florida State. And thankfully, they've got a Jamie Arnold to turn to. That's always nice. Jamie Arnold has been himself lately, and that is always a good thing. Highly effective, going deeper into games. Good to see. Exciting to watch. Big series. You want an ace that can handle it. He's been handling it. Great matchup. North Carolina comes into this game at 37-10. They have 16 wins to 10 losses in the ACC. Strength of schedule of 40. They are a team that split 2 games with NC State last week. They are on schedule. We are a day off or ahead. Behind, I guess is the better way of saying that. One less day of rest. North Carolina as a staff, really elite 3.45 ERA. For Florida State, that is 4.49. But if you get into individual starters, you feel better about Florida State. Tonight's matchup, Jake Knapp, who's been good, 71 innings pitched. That's because he's a horse. He's been a stud. Jamie Arnold, also a stud, 49 innings pitched. This is the matchup right here. 2.03 versus 2.39. ERA is a bit outdated, but you get the point. And this should be fun.
Yeah, I have it since the beginning of April. Jamie Arnold has pitched to a 1.71 ERA in 31 2/3.
Tomorrow's game, also at 7 o'clock. Another start between 2 good pitchers. Jason DeCaro goes for North Carolina with a 3.55. He's had 63 innings pitched this year. This is more equal to what we are accustomed to seeing. Joey Vellini, 57 2/3 with a 2.65. So we're getting to matchups back-to-back with everything on the line and 2 really elite pitching prospects going at it. Well, 4 in total, I should say. And that's exciting. At home, you get that early success, Tom. You feel like Jamie rides the wave. I wonder if we get is this 2-2 in the 5th? Is this 2-2 where we're watching pitch totals? You're eyeing their bullpen. You're eyeing your own bullpen. Trying to get a sense. Can your ace hang in there? Whose ace goes longer? Whose ace carries the day?
And that sets up tomorrow, and that sets up Saturday.
Sets up everything.
Yeah, well, and it's once again, you saw last week that our guy, Joe Charles, was the double dip arm for the weekend, and John Abraham was paired with Vellini.
Yes.
Is that the case again? Because if it's the case again, then you now have a battle plan that you can expect to see, unless the lineups we face in the regional are, heavily right-handed, left-handed, or something like that. You get an idea of who they've tabbed as their elite class. And right now they do already have it. They've shorted up to where you can assume that Abraham and, to a lesser degree, Prescott, Charles, and probably Holtz, because Link has been talking him up, those guys are in the inner circle of trust for if the game is tight, you're slightly behind, you're slightly ahead. These are the arms that they're going to turn to in a weekend rotation or in a weekend setting out of the bullpen.
I keep thinking about there have been some really good series and matchups against North Carolina in all the years that, Andrew Miller pitched there. And I can think of a lot of guys that went through that North Carolina program that were very good baseball players and big series over at Hauser. But I also was thinking about how we've largely owned the series and checked on the numbers today, thanks to FSU Sports Information. And do you realize the extent to which Florida State owns this series? Much better than I thought. The Noles are 73-39 all time against North Carolina. That is a bend over kind of beat down for a program that is accomplished. Carolina's a very good program. That's surprising to me. We haven't played a series since 2022. We beat them last year in the College World Series to send them home, but haven't played a series since 2022.
I'm assuming they got the better of us in that series, but
they swept us. Yes.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, seems about right.
I was going to leave that out of.
Sorry, that's how they got to 39, or else they'd be stuck on 36.
The prior season, we did take 2 out of 3 when I pulled that up, so we had done that. Of course, last year I mentioned that game when we started the program today in the College World Series. Florida State won that game, ousted UNC from Omaha 9-5. It was the win. Max Williams went yard. Connor Holtz threw 4 1/3 shutout innings in relief to get the win. That was big. If you get that version of Connor Holtz at any point in this latter stages of the season, ACC tournament, postseason at all, well, then you've got a big shot in the arm.
I remember that appearance because in the beginning you're just nervous, like, please get the outs, please get the outs. And as every inning goes by and he is walking back to the dugout successfully, you're going, oh my God.
Okay, another inning. All right.
And then by this third inning of work, well, it's just what he does. You got no chance, guys. This is just what he does. He's going to get the big outs when he needs to.
By the way, the softball team will take the field Friday to begin their postseason run, too. They're hosting a regional for the 11th consecutive season. You knew that. They're obviously one of the 4 schools, FSU, Alabama, Oklahoma, UCLA, to host a regional in each of the last 11 seasons. These are the blue bloods of the sport, and they've been that. But I just wanted to turn your attention to the you can find the video. Florida State's got it out. It's I think we have it on our site as well. Lonnie Alameda talking about the series, talking about the regional. And she's asked a question, but I think it was Ryan Kelly is who asked the question. Our former intern does a great job at WCTV. Ryan asked a question about the support she's received, and her answer is beautiful. It's just nice to see. I watched it this morning and thought, I put a smile on my face.
Yeah, he was working on a story on that because he asked Link Jarrett about the support that he personally was showing to Lonnie and the softball program, and Link went right into what a kind of a human being Lonnie is. And
very cool.
It's been... Look, it's all a story that's attached to something that's scary and not positive, but you're hoping that the end of the story is. But if in a year in which, just covering this athletic department, there hasn't been a whole lot of heartwarming personality, the humanity that's come out that Lonnie already had showed, but the humanity that's come out of that particular story, seeing other ACC programs and programs around the country support Coach Alameda.
It's cool.
And to see within the athletic department the support that's happening. If you're going to be in this situation, I'm glad that Lonnie has such a support system that seems to be so real and personal. And all we do when we talk about Lonnie at this point is that hope that she has a story that she can share for decades to come about what, vigilance and treatment.
She reflects that support in the way that she talks about it. There's a joy and a smile that comes over her face that kind of makes you feel better about that fight. She's the one who has to go through it. You can't go through it for her. Obviously, there's a lot of fear centered around the topic of cancer. But when you see her light up when she's talking about that support, you go, man, she's buoyed. She's legitimately buoyed. Like there's an uptick in her voice. It's cool to see. That's just people being good. And that's what you want to see. There's not enough of that. And it's wonderful to see. I mentioned before the end of the last hour about a recruit, and I guess I want to bring to the airwaves the conversation we had, you and I did, about 5-star linebacker Xavier Griffin. He is the linebacker that decommitted from USC. Florida State has secured, as of right now, his final visit. Now, we'll see if that remains to be the case, but that's usually a good indicator that you're in it, that you have a legitimately shot. Now, I would say on the surface, all of us who see this say, what kind of shot do you actually have if you're Florida State when the teams you're competing against are Texas, Alabama, and Ohio State? Financially, that's a battle that you cannot win if it's just the money. So you have to hope that it's more than just the money. And the fact that he is willing to take that visit suggests there's real intrigue, which is nice. And I'm excited about that. But should I hold my breath? You shot a video, or you did shoot a video? You will shoot a video?
No,
yeah.
I did. Yeah.
So is this a thing where Langston thinks they have a shot?
Well, yeah, if you get an OV, by definition, you have a legit shot. The later you get the OV, the better the shot that you have.
Georgia's also in the running, I might add.
Of course. Yes, if it comes down to NFL factory, money, and prestige, recent prestige, like as in the lifespan of these kids, you're not going to get this player. But I think the important thing here is that he visited in the spring to take a look at campus,
Mm-hmm.
and he liked it enough to come back and spend one of his OVs here. I would think less of it if he had never been here before and he was intrigued by the new coaching staff and he wanted to hear from a school that's very close to him. He's Gainesville, Georgia, so he wanted to see a school in the area. And I don't know, first impression, let's see what I can get. He already had his first impression, and he wants to see more. He wants to hear more. So I think the things that Florida State has going for it, obviously, new scheme, a new scheme that features
linebackers,
and he's a crossover player too. He's on the line of scrimmage. He'll line up at traditional linebacker positions. This is a multiple defense that can take advantage of that skill set. You have a path to play early because we're not good. All right. So if playing early matters to you, that's a positive.
Got a shot.
The other thing I would say is whatever we're telling him number-wise, this is the important adult stuff that we can talk about. You don't take an OV unless Florida State is inherently in the ballpark.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You're right. In the ballpark, right? They can't be getting blown out of the water with the initial numbers or else he wouldn't bother. So you're right about that. By the way, his quote, "At this point, I will not be taking an official visit to Southern Cal. I have official visits to Ohio State on May the 30th, Alabama on June the 6th, Texas on June the 13th, and Florida State on June the 15th. Now, we'll all remember that date as it's just 4 days after my birthday. But June the 15th, Florida State's visit, this could be a celebratory moment right after having celebrated my birthday for all of you. What a big moment. Let's hope it happens, Tom. Let's hope that right on the heels of that, it's back-to-back celebrations within 4 days.
This is where I've been positive about this, but the burned Florida State fan comes out. I don't want him to commit in June. I don't need another one of those December flippity-doos going the other way with a 5-star.
He says he wants to shut down
I know.
all recruiting, and his commitment will be done before the start of the season so he can focus on his senior year.
I'll take it in August. Don't do that thing where you're on campus and you commit right away. I know beggars cannot be choosers.
It builds momentum for you.
It does. It does. I get scared of that whole little early time.
I can't do. Listen, there's a couple things here, and this isn't going to devolve into something negative again. We've done a poor job of recruiting, and so I don't trust us to close the deal to begin with. But secondarily, anybody that recruits, anybody that says that they're sure a kid is going, I'm sure Georgia was 99% sure that Usman Chromo was coming to Georgia. How could they not be? It was a battle against Florida State. They're Georgia. They have dominated the last 7 years in recruiting, 5 years in recruiting. Certainly by way of comparison to us, I doubt very seriously they thought at the last second the flippity-doo could occur to Florida State. So nobody's ever certain, no matter who you are, no matter how well you've recruited, that's certainly true of us currently. If he says he's coming to Florida State, I'll be like, all right. I'll be excited because I think it looks good for you.
Yes,
and like I said, it generates positive buzz. Perhaps it generates more looks from guys that weren't otherwise considering Florida State. Agreed. But I won't write it down in ink that we got him. I mean, it's not, you don't know. You don't know anymore. That's what recruiting's become.
But it's better to have it than not. 100%. And for all the belly aching we're doing, rightfully so, about the weakness in high school recruiting, this would be a monumental message about the new staff. And I think a continuation about the money approach that Florida State is taking, because when you would pair that, let's just say it does happen, and we're into July, and he wants to do a July 4th announcement with fireworks. Well, then you pair that with flipping Tylon Lee and Chroma and Jesse Harold, and you say, "Oh, okay,
showing some signs.
We're showing some signs.
We've got a pulse.
We have a pulse to invest in the kids that we want to invest in, and really, linebacker. I know you've been begging for it. not as critical in the previous defense as it is in this defense. This would be a critical piece to the multiple 3-3-5, whatever you want to call it. This is a big piece and a big position to get right. And he does have, from looking at the huddle tape, 5-star tools would be nice.
Have you looked at him? Yeah, you looked at the huddle tape? Yeah,
yes. That'll work.
I saw it too, and I was like, ooh. Okay.
He closes the gap.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
He will shrink the gap and then end you.
Yeah, he looks like a ball player. I agree. In a weird way, that's a perfect segue for what we'll do next, which is join our friends at ISF and solve for the future. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Do you have spring fever? Your only prescription is the Lawn Johns. Hi, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We can make your landscape more appealing by providing you with award-winning lawn care. With 4 levels of service, the Lawn Johns offers you more choices than the rest. More flowers, more mulch, or more pine straw all means that your home or office will be more beautiful than ever. So if you've got spring fever, go to thelawnjohns.com or just look for our big purple truck.
I gotta have more cowbell. T-Park Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Park Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those storm leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Park Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Park Construction.com.
CCC 133-1204.
Hey man, have you heard about Pentalco Jewelry's the best in town? So rings, diamonds, earring, bracelets, and more. Pentalco Jewelry.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalco and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now, sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalco.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. We're proud to offer models built right here in the USA. And you win because the 2025 Pathfinder and Rogue are priced below last year's models. These offers should help you get that new car before summer vacation. Pathfinder has 0% interest for 60 months or $3,000 bonus cash. Or lease the Murano SUV for just $498 a month with just $2,000 down. And step up to the top-of-the-line Platinum all-wheel drive for just $598 a month. And we've got 3.9% for 60 months on 2 of Tallahassee's favorite Nissans, Frontier Crew Cab and Rogue. Or get $3,000 Frontier or $1,500 Rogue bonus cash. And at 0% for 72 months, our Aria and Leaf EVs are rolling off the lot. Or get $7,500 customer cash on these award-winning EVs. You see, we've got your next car, vacation in style, compliments of Kraft Nissan. And once again, I'll say it. Remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag in your car, you paid too much, way too much.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-351-4596. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-351-4596. 800-351-4596. 800-351-4596.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results vary. Consult with your tax professional prior to enrollment.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Let's solve for the future together. Solving the future, bringing together experience through leaders, proven methodologies, supporting meaningful change with a lasting impact. That's ISF. We've talked a lot about ISF over the years now that we've been together, and collaborative is a key word with that, but also local, man. They're national from right here in Tallahassee, but they support a lot of what we support here in this community as well, and I always appreciate that. Remember, just last year when they got together for the collection of food with the second harvest of the Big Ben as well before games, this is the kind of stuff ISF does. So when you hear me talk about the big stuff that they do with companies and state government and all that, that's great, but also know their feet on the ground. They're here in the community helping out.
It's a happy coincidence that two of the organizations that they help out of many are two that are near and dear to our heart, because they also very much support the Guardian Ad Litem Second Circuit, which is something that you all support out there on Warchant TV, and you have in huge numbers over the holiday season.
Well, I would ask them if they're capable of solving for the future with what it takes in recruiting. I don't know what to say about what we witnessed earlier this week with Jackson Cantwell. I did some more research on that. I mean, Tom, look, he was the number one national recruit, number one state recruit, number one position. He was at his position, 6'8", 325-pound offensive tackle. Everybody wanted him. Georgia was said to have done everything right and still didn't get him. Oregon was said to have done everything right, still didn't get him. He verbals to Miami, and his agent at a high school is Drew Rosenhaus. $2 million plus to be able to talk with and work out a deal possibly at the time with Mr. Cantwell. That ain't going to get it. I don't know that we're in a position to do that or would. That's insane.
Well, if we have 16 dedicated to the football program out of the 20 and a half, I mean, how much is the left tackle for 2 to 3 years worth?
If you can keep him for 2 to 3 years, yeah, man.
Well, I'm sure Miami will be sweating that bullet as well. I mean, they got the initial commitment, which is not nothing, but they have to hold on to it too. Because what if they slip up and they have another season where they lose 3 games, but they probably should have lost 5? It's the carbon copy image of last year. And they did so even with a guy like Maui Noah on the offensive line, who's awesome, by the way.
Yep.
Would that kid get bored with the idea of, well, he's not going to get over the hump and he goes to Georgia or he goes to Oregon? I mean, that could still happen to them. But yes, the price to play is crazy. I mean, we were talking about it last year with Josh Petty and what Georgia Tech was willing to pay that kid.
And this looks different than Josh Petty, but yes.
Yes, but he was a 4 to 5 star level player, depending upon where you're looking.
He looked awfully small for,
He did not look college ready in frame, whereas this kid does.
This kid does.
But it's going to cost you two plus to go get a top flight offensive lineman out of high school. And for the most part, watch that kid sit for a year. I don't know.
I wonder about him. At 300 plus pounds, 6'8", he is the son of 2 former Olympians. He may be a freak. This is problematic.
He could be an outlier, but that doesn't mean that he didn't just advance the market for all offensive linemen like him. This is like anything else in any other sport. If one, replacement level 2 guard in the NBA clears $19 million a year, well, the next guy that comes out with the exact same stat line is going to cost $19.7 or $20.5.
I worry about it, buddy. And I know you're seeing Miami go all in, and they have to. Boy, oh boy, it's tough. When you see these top commits that Faison Brandon kid, the quarterback that went to Tennessee, you see that LSU signed the wide receiver out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, another 5-star kid, elite player for the next year's class. You go through the teams that are signing: Oregon, Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, Ohio State, LSU, and then Miami. Very frustrating. You're like, okay, so it's a select group, mostly SEC with the exception of Ohio State, and the Canes being the only one out of the ACC. And this isn't the first time now. Think about what they did to go get Carson Beck. I mean, okay, what's going on here? We'll see. They haven't won anything. Feels like they're hell-bent on winning something.
Oh, they're hell-bent on it. Yeah, it's just that their greatest stopgap is their best recruiter. or their greatest hurdle, I should say.
I was going to say, game days,
Yeah.
it's the thing that helps them put themselves in a position to win games. It's also the thing that cost them those games.
You could argue that they probably should have only won 8 games last year, and you can most certainly argue that it could have been 7-5 bad. They could have been 7-5 last year with a better quarterback. I'm going to say it. The guy they just had is better than the guy that they have this year.
Well, he's certainly, I mean, look, he's the number 1 pick in the draft, so it's hard to argue against that. We'll see. Carson Beck's upside when he's right is that, but we'll see.
It's pretty high, but I mean, this dude made some ridiculous plays off platform, and I don't think Beck's got that in him.
Not as consistently, no. Now, Beck may be a better passer of the football consistently. From if you keep him upright in the pocket, he can make those throws. We've seen some of those where you go, ooh, but he's been hurt. We don't know how he'll recover. And he's been wildly inconsistent. So he has his great games, and he has games where like, yeah, this ain't good. It's interesting. So we'll see. I'm just talking about the process and all this. If you want to look at the teams that are tired of losing and want to get this thing turned around in a hurry, look no further than LSU, who's throwing around gobs of money, and then Miami, who's also throwing around gobs of money. The others are trying to sustain what they've already done. Texas is going for it all. $40 million payroll, Arch Manning, tons of money, oil money, the whole deal. We already know that, right? Ohio State just spent $20+ million as the best receiver in the country, just won the national title, still spinning. Georgia's still spinning. Alabama's still spinning. We're not in that discussion.
You know what's funny is if we made the playoff, we weren't snubbed, and this is not about the snub, it's just about the perception of where we are. If we had made it, and let's say we win a game, but we don't win the national title. So we win a game in the playoff, we get to the dance, and whoever I guess we'd lose to Michigan, and I forget who won that season.
Michigan won that
Michigan,
season.
okay.
Yep.
So you lose 20-10.
Yeah.
Right now, I would say, I don't think 2-10 happens after it, but
it wouldn't have happened after it, yes.
If you had that much success, I would say wait out the market because you're throwing so much inefficient money at so little return on investment for a span of a couple of years. Whether or not the House settlement is 100% ironclad, the market's going to come back to earth a little bit. It's just to what extent is the market going to come back? It just feels like what's happening right now is gross inefficiency.
Yeah.
Whereas already it would be inefficient. There's no need right now to spend 30 million or 25 or 22 on a roster this year if you're us. Just be wise about the way you spend your money and then be ready to pounce if you have the season that puts you back on the map this year. At that point, it's be ready to pounce. So it doesn't bother me when I see some of these other programs dumping tons of money and getting these kids. Even Texas Tech has been incredibly active.
They went all in. Yeah, they clearly decided, but they also have access to the same thing, oil money.
For me right now, it is frustrating, but I don't type in all caps like a lot of people right now say, what the hell is with me? Well, we're not there right now. Just spend your money wisely. Let's see if we have a pulse. And then if we do,
it's funny though.
That's when you shove the chips.
That argument though, Tom, what happens, the counter to that is how you expect to get there if you're not going to be willing to spend. Like these guys are buying their rosters and winning championships. They spent $20 million. They won the national title. We don't think that being cheap is going to lead to you winning the national title or even making the playoff, right? You want to see competence. You want to see a successful season, which serves as a jumping off point. And people would say, well, we had it and we still didn't take advantage of it. We went 12-0. We had, you got snubbed. You got screwed by the snub, but come on, man. You didn't have to finish outside the top 10 in recruiting. You didn't have to fall off a cliff.
I hear you on all that, but that's all in the past. There's nothing I can do about that.
No, but my point is what do you just give up at that point and not spend any money?
No, what I'm saying is do what you're doing right now, which is they overspent on high school kids in the winter window, and they brought in 3 or 4 trench players.
They had to do that. Yeah.
The retention of Kevin Wynn is something I don't ever bring up there, but they had to get aggressive, I believe, in order to keep Kevin Wynn, the defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm. And they've got Karma in and all that. Yep.
Right. So you overspent to fix the high school defensive line. You overspent to go in the portal and go grab an adequate offensive line that is full of veterans.
Yeah.
Man, there was no reason right now to spend crazy money to try and chase down a fledgling 10-win season. Get a pulse first, and then I'm going to be as angry as some people are right now.
Get very aggressive.
But this year's not that time.
Yeah.
So when I see people purchasing things that are in the window from other universities, I'm like, oh, God, I would love that. this ain't that year. You're just you gotta have to wait.
Well, it's what I said, where somebody said, well, why do you make that point all the time about not spending more money on the roster for a quarterback? Why wouldn't you spend more money on the quarterback? And I'm like, well, we're not built out enough to win with that quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the entire for this year. I'm not talking about in perpetuity.
It can't be much more than this year. You got to be moving forward aggressively after this year.
I think you're either going to be spending
or firing
on Mike. Well, you'll
be spending or firing. Look, you're firing him and spending all your money on a new coaching staff, or he retains his job because he wins games and you're spending all your money on players.
Precisely, yeah. I was going to say you either spend on his roster or the next guy's roster next year. Yeah. But you don't want to have to dump Brinks trucks of money on him for him to walk.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that sucks. If you have to fire him, you're not spending money on your roster. You're going to spend it all on your coaches.
I think I would argue that the only way you fire him is if you have enough money to spend it on firing him and the roster. You wouldn't spend it. So if you had to make a choice and say, well, I can either spend money on the roster or I can spend money on firing Mike Norvell and his assistants, I don't think that's a choice. I think you keep Mike Norvell, you wear it from the fan base, and you spend money on the roster. If the spend is on the, because then the next coach isn't set up to succeed. Who the hell are you bringing in? Somebody who you're not investing for their roster?
Let's just hope we're not having this conversation or deciding between these two choices at any point.
That's not a future I want to solve for.
No solving that future. You're screwed. That's what that future is. You're screwed for the foreseeable future if that happens. But it's not, Tom. It's not going to happen. The moves they made, in essence, were to raise the floor so that couldn't happen. They didn't make these moves to this year win a championship. They made these moves because this all but guarantees 6 wins by being competent in the running game. I think that's what they did.
Agreed. And you want to hear about other things in the interim that all add up to us being a little bit more financially stable, like Dokefest, where we get you get Smash Mouth and Sister Hazel performing in the stadium.
Please, we gotta do better than that.
We gotta sell tickets.
We gotta do better than that. You're gonna sell 70 tickets to Smash Mouth and Sister Hazel.
I don't know what kind of large acts are making their way to Tallahassee, but you gotta get some more events in the stadium.
Smash Mouth is coming to town.
I told you. That was the guy who worked in our company. He's like, can I call you right now? I've got huge news. Okay, sure. This is the one down in Port St. Lucie. So I just got a huge booking. I'm like, oh, you did? He goes, it's humongous. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Smash Mouth.
Oh, Jesus.
Am I on camera?
I think the guy's dead.
The guy from
the singer from Smash
Mouth.
I
was like, the guy we worked with, he's young.
No, I think the singer from Smash Mouth is dead. I mean, I don't care because Smash Mouth suck, but I think he is.
He's walking on the sun.
You're gonna have to go double check. You know that my radar for these things, ISF solving for the future. ISF.com to learn more.
Your local news now.
Just one day after the Florida State University campus shooter appeared for the first time in court, a grand jury indicted him on multiple murder charges. Phoenix Eichner was indicted on 2 first-degree murder charges and 7 counts of attempted first-degree murder with a firearm. He's accused of opening fire near the FSU student union last month, fatally shooting 2 people and injuring 7 others. He could face life in prison or the death penalty. The grand jury concluded that Eichner acted alone and that his targets were selected at random. They also believe that there were no warning signs. The 20-year-old had no history of mental health or behavioral referrals indicating him as a threat at Leon County Schools or Tallahassee State College or at FSU. He was officially charged after his Monday release from the hospital. He was hospitalized for several weeks after being shot in the jaw by law enforcement as he responded to the campus shooting. Eichner is expected in court for an arraignment hearing on Wednesday, June 11th. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McNamore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McNamoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Temperatures on the rise with rain chances extremely low, with only about a 10% chance of rain each day through the weekend. High temperatures in the lower to mid 90s with lows in the 60s. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 67. Friday, patchy fog possible early, mostly sunny, high of 94, low of 67. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high of 95. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly. Bye.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Nice Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Nice Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here is my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Get it? With the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Rolling on, my friends. Rolling on as we I try to get more and more focused on the baseball game, even though I'm going to have to watch it on my phone. I'm just fighting off a little bit of depression with that. But what are you going to do?
Maybe there will be some good baked beans at the potluck. That'll save you a little bit.
Baked beans go a long way, Tom. That's not a bad. Yeah, you perked me up. There you go.
You're welcome.
You know, I'll tell you something else. I would argue that you mix that with, and you don't like it, but you mix it with a good coleslaw.
Well, if it's a vinegar-based coleslaw, I'm all in. If it's mayo-based, it's no good. But there's plenty of great vinegar-based coleslaws out there.
I also like mayo-based coleslaw.
You do?
I also like vinegar coleslaw. My
Our-
kids hate both coleslaw. They can't do it.
Oh, really?
I hate it. They're like, what's wrong with you?
Dearly departed, long time ago now, R.I.P. Bagel Heads had the greatest coleslaw in the world. It was vinegar-based.
Bagel Heads was great, period.
It was.
Ben was awesome.
Yep.
Ben, bring Bagel Heads back.
It would do wonders in the north side. I'm sure of it.
Top stars have rocky PGA start with rare gaffes. Thanks for that headline. It's a toughie, man. It's gonna be fun to see what kind of numbers we get out of this. It ain't gonna be good. By the way, did they catch the raccoon that infiltrated Citi Field last night?
What?
Did you watch the Pirates-Mets last night?
I watched the first 5 innings. I'll be honest. I got
You drift
sidetracked.
off?
Well, I saw something on social media for a 2-hour narration of The Godfather. Francis Ford Coppola narrates through stills of the scenes, all the things that happened behind the scenes. And I got hooked.
You got hooked and
And
went down the road.
Oh, I learned. I just watched the first hour of it, but I got hooked. It was great.
Well, you missed anything because the Mets did not score last night, Tom. But I would note,
I watched it get to 4-0 with 2 2-run home runs, and that's when I started looking at social, and my feed is good because it gives me cool suggestions like that.
I would just say that the remaining entertainment was this raccoon running around your stadium and people fleeing from the stands. It was a big raccoon. I was like, look at that cutie pie.
I know. He's from the park, no doubt, right next door.
He's like, what's going on here? There's food over here. I smell it. I know I do.
Food everywhere,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I know, buddy. Anyhow, yes, that was my evening last night. Look, there's a raccoon in the stands. And then it rained again, but they got the game through.
I'll give you something I learned real quick. Abe Vigoda was the product of an open call. He had nothing to his name in his acting career before that role.
Turned into a real career.
Straight up, they got him off the street. They loved the presence that he had, and that he knew right away, Coppola did, that he wanted to have a little girl dancing on his shoe tops in the beginning of the wedding because of what, uncles and grandfathers used to do at his own weddings. And that is what people first saw from
Well,
Abe Vigoda.
You're gonna have to send me the link now, buddy. You're gonna have to send me the link now. That's the good stuff. Let's do probables. I know we have plenty of time to fill, and I don't mind doing it though, because we'll talk some more baseball, including Florida State's at the end. But I'm excited about the games. Not that many. I don't think we have a long list, so we'll rapid fire it and finish with a different discussion. What are you searching for?
Well, the board defaulted to a previous date in history, so I got to go grab the music. But I can start with the sounder, and then I'll meet you in the middle with the music.
The sounder, and then maybe you be the trumpet and the piano.
Really? I mean, I could try.
I'm kidding. Go for it. Here we go. Hit the sound.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
I was
You said you were kidding, so I was going to take up on it.
All right. That's not bad, by the way. Rays Blue Jays are in the second. It's 3-1 Rays. Zach, no, you don't have to do it. You don't have to.
Thank you.
Kevin Goss been going for the Blue Jays today. Houston and the Texans. Texans, listen to me. Rangers, that'd be the Texas Rangers at 8:05 tonight. Hunter Brown, Jacob DeGrom.
I take it a beer.
I take it to beer. Hope I take it to the beer is doing all right. Only you and I know who I take it to the beer is. He seemed to like his job.
He was earnest.
Enthusiastic.
That's a long time ago now. It's 11 years and change.
Are you saying he's dead?
No, I'm hoping for the best for him.
Me too. A's Dodgers. Very quietly, guys, and I get it. I shouldn't get my hopes up. You do realize the Dodgers starting rotation is a mess? Everybody's hurt. They're having to call dudes up to start. This is a team that began the season with a better grouping of 5 as their backup 5 in the rotation than 90% of the teams in the majors' first 5, and they're having to call guys up from the minors to make starts. Tragic, I tell you. Just tragic.
It's okay. Clayton Kershaw is going to debut, and he's going to pitch to a 450 pretty soon.
Well, he's not starting tonight. Osvaldo Bido goes for the A's, and Matt Sauer goes for the Dodgers. Damn it, guys. Yesterday I told you, and it turned out to be a falsehood, that the Braves, who had moved a game above 500, would not fall below 500 or even be 500 again the rest of the year. They probably blew a 4-run lead and lost to the Nationals yesterday and fell back to 500. Now, they remedied the situation by winning today 5-2, and that was Trevor Williams versus A.J. Smith-Shawver. So they're again above 500, and I'll throw it back out there. They probably don't go back down to 500.
Washington is low-key putting some pieces together. They're going to be nice in a couple of years.
They are. Twins, Orioles, how'd Ira's bunch do? Oh, Orioles did what they normally do, which is lose. 15-27. Twins win that game today, 4-0. That was Chris Paddock and Tomoyoki Sugano. White Sox, Reds, Bryce Wilson, Nick Martinez. Reds beat the White Sox 7-1. The White Sox on the season are 14-30. Bad teams in baseball on pace to lose 100 games. That is a look at those that showers out of the month. You feel like we win tonight?
I do. I think that we're pretty centered right now as a ball club. I know that there was an egg that they laid the other night, Saturday. It just feels like the pieces are falling right where they need to be right now.
The funny thing about the Saturday game against Cal last week, you get shut out. I just chalk it up to somebody got hot. Guy was on the hill, was feeling it. You got shut out. I mean, come on. And that's the weirdest thing about baseball. It happens all the time, but it's easier to stomach when those things happen, unless it's the postseason and it puts you in a dire set of circumstances. But it wasn't, and you bounced right back, won the game the next day, took the series, did what you had to do, and now you're back playing a big-time, meaningful series. 2 studs on the hill tonight. Both are going to want to show and prove against the other. That is a raucous atmosphere tonight. I don't think there's any chance of rain or anything like that, so that the people are going to show up early. They're going to be loud. They're going to be ready to roll. It's a 7 o'clock first pitch. All right, then.
It also, I try to live in the moment, but my brain does this. I know yours does too. We will be sitting here 2 weeks from today thinking about the Tallahassee Regional. and that gets me a little nervous.
Why? What do you mean? Why do you get nervous? I'm excited. I mean, that's different than nervous. I'm pumped to see who comes here. I want to know who we're matched up again. It's an opportunity, Tom.
That the answer, well, yeah, but the answers are coming. I've really enjoyed last year's team. Was it blows you away expectations wise, and it was a dream. And I wish that the dream ended, of course, with the pile on the mound in Omaha.
Course, yeah.
I've enjoyed the hell out of watching this team because they've evolved into something that I think is pretty dangerous. But they're also a team that still has a couple of weaknesses.
They do.
That could see them barbecuing pretty early if it just doesn't fall the right way for them. I really want it for this team. That's why I feel nervous 2 weeks out of the regional. I want this team to at least get back out to Omaha because they're putting it together. They've done a really good job.
It's a funny thing to talk about and project their future because last year's team, it would have felt like because they were such a juggernaut offensively and they were very good on the hill, you thought it would be a bitter disappointment not to get to Omaha. Whereas this team, I think we'd still be disappointed. But you feel like they've overachieved a little bit and they've become something more than you expected them to be. So therefore you kind of have they're not the little engine that could. That's not what they are. But they're a really good team, but they're more flawed than last year's team. They don't have the thing to fall back on that you go, that's unstoppable. That's not going to get it,
Yeah, to put it simply, if I told you right now that I know the future, I've got Biff Tannen's Almanac, and they don't make it past supers, you'd be like, oh, really? That's too bad. I could see it, though. And that's the energy you would have.
That's exactly what you would say.
If I did that last year, you go, oh, no. What the hell happened?
Baseball happened. Did they get a little unlucky?
But that would bug you for a day. You'd be driving home going, they're not going to make it?
It would have bugged me. Yeah, it would have bugged me greatly because I wanted that reward for a drastic turnaround from being ass sorry and terrible to great. And I had a lot of money on them making the College World Series, if you recall.
Also, I would love to see Chase Williams play in Omaha in that ballpark in Gap One and have it
run
roll all the way to the wall.
Days.
He might score, man.
Well, he might. I just like watching him play baseball, period. Speaking of people playing baseball, we're not far away from it happening. And they got the greatest of news, and it doesn't surprise me because that's the kind of man he is. But Paul Skeens agreed to pitch for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, sir. And the Pirates said good, and I said good. And he is one of the biggest stars in the game. And guess who else said yes? Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout. Let's go. It's happening soon. I love the Baseball Classic. It's going to kick ass, Tom. You should go with me this time around.
I probably will. You know what? I'll concede. You'll never get me on the President's Cup, but I'll show up to the World Baseball Classic.
God bless the President's Cup.
Well, Skeens has said that he wants to return to military service when his playing career is over. So
many moons from now, sir.
All I'm saying is, I think he'd say yes to Team USA Baseball if he's willing to, after making hundreds of millions of dollars, go serve the country.
I got pumped about the idea of that again. And I will be honest with you, for people that don't know, I have gone to the World Baseball Classic, and it is something to behold. It kicks ass. It's a lot of fun. The fans are awesome. And as he said this before facing your Mets the other night. It's special growing up watching the world. Do you want to feel old? He actually used these words. Growing up watching the World Baseball Classic as a kid, I never thought I'd have the opportunity to play. I told myself if I ever do get the opportunity, I wouldn't pass it up, and here we are. How did this happen? That there are men in the majors, aces for staffs in the major leagues that are referring to the World Baseball Classic as something that they watched as a little kid. What?
Well, yeah, I had the year nailed. The first World
2017. 2017.
The first year of the World Baseball Classic?
No, his interest started in 2017.
Oh, yeah. Well, the first year was 2006. I remember this because I was in the old Cash Hall, Seminole Oaks dorms on campus, my first semester at Florida State. And that was the first. I remember having it on the little 14-inch television next to my bed, the World Baseball Classic. So it's been almost 20 years.
So you were already you were watching. You weren't like poo-poo in the World Baseball Classic.
They had Captain America. They had David Wright on.
Yes, they did. I remember that. That's right. Remember Adam Jones's catch on the drive by Manny Machado where he into the stands and made the play?
I think, that's more recent than 2000.
Yeah, but it's really, I mean, there have been classic moments in the World Baseball Classic, including obviously Shohei and Mike Trout.
Yeah, well, and also that year in 2006, I think both Beltran and Delgado were on that team for Puerto Rico.
It's a cool event. If you go down to Miami and if they're having it there again, I didn't double check. I think they are, right? They're having, at least that's one of the stadiums that they're going to have it in.
Oh, it's always, one of the stadiums. Yes.
It's fantastic. You get like the fans are all cool to each other. It's not acrimonious, it's like you worry about it sometimes when country's facing country, you kind of can get nervous, but no, everybody embraces it, loves it, has fun with it. Great food. They go out of their way to make sure that all the food is represented too, Tom.
Oh, do they?
Oh, buddy.
Here's your 2006. How much time I have? World Baseball Classic American roster. Rapid fire. Clemens, Cordero, Brian Fuentes, Al Leiter, Brad Lidge, Scott Shields, Houston Street, Dontrell Willis, Brian Schneider, Jason Varitek, Jeter, Chipper Jones, A-Rod, Mark Teixeira, Michael Young, Johnny Damon, Ken Griffey Jr.
Wow.
Vernon Wells, Randy Wynn.
Vernon Wells and Randy Wynn, the Rays. Yeah, no, listen, I will tell you this. I know the risk of injury always happens, and you're like, okay. But and it happened to your guy, oddly.
Oh, and he didn't even, he wasn't the problem. It was his teammates.
I know. That was just unlucky. That could have happened anywhere. Could have happened anytime.
The first player listed on the Dominican Republic roster, Placido Polanco.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, good times. Good way to end today's show. Beautiful. We'll be back with you on a Libations Friday. Go Noles tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Good work out of you, Tom. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you then. Peace.